Oh, welcome to my show, Comic Chat, Danny, and I'm going to today, which is Mr. Terrance. How you doing, sir?
Doing all right, Danny. How you doing?
Um, Before we get started today, um, Terrance and I are kind of venturing on something. Why isn't it? Man, it ain't showing you. Okay, I guess we'll be right there. Terrance and I are kind of branching out. Thing going to do a new show on Sundays, probably about 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be called Equilibrium. This is, I guess, the first um, show of that. I promise you it will get better as I work out the kinks. I'm going to ask you to bear with me. The show base is going to be about a plethora of things. Um, each week I put out a poll asking a particular question. Terrance and I are both watch Black Lightning Flash. We'll be discussing those shows every week as the episode goes and as the show goes on. Whatever movie or whatever comic book, anything that we think that might be interesting during that week, we will discuss different comic books. We can talk about that or any questions that you, the chat, have. We will definitely answer them. So please retweet this. Please share this link with your friends because it's definitely wanted, definitely needed. Before we get into it, I'm going to do what I always do, and if this is the first time subscribing to the channels, please subscribe to my channel, which is Comic Chats. Please subscribe to Terrance channel, which is Terrain and Terrance. Both have pretty content. Terrance content is very comical. Sometimes he's depending on what actually touches his particular mind at that time. Whenever I go there, I get a chuckle. But I also learn something. Terrance is very knowledgeable world and the comic book lore. So questions that I have or understanding, usually he can shed some light, or if you don't know, he can point me in the right direction. Also, I'm going to ask you to please hit the notification bell because I don't want you to miss any material that I upload. I don't want you to miss this show that's going to be starting on, like I said, Sundays now. Probably going to start at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're not going to have a time frame. We're going to go as long as the conversation is flowing organically. As long as you have questions, as long as the conversation is moving in the right positive direction, you're going to stay on. I'm going to guarantee at least 2 hours. That's something that comes up. And last but not least, please thumbs up for this channel and a notification because we both want to hear what you got to say. Whatever questions you may have that will probably help for future topics on future shows. And basically, when I know what you send me feedback or send me a comment or what you're thinking, you know what I'm thinking. To answer your question, it may not be the same day, but I guarantee you within a 24 hour turnaround, if you sent me something, I'm usually going to respond in some shape, form, or fashion. So without further ado, I'm going to let Terrance take over and say whatever you want to say, and then we're going to get into the show.
Oh, yep. I want to thank you, humans, for being here. Danny's a good friend of mine, and we always have really wonderful discussions. And we just, whenever we touch upon a topic, there really is a balance. Hence the name. So I feel like that's very important that whatever you're a part of, that it equally represents both individuals. And then, once those individuals come together, there is something specific that can be said. Um, yeah, I'm from the Tremaine Terrance channel, as Danny stated, and I'm just here to talk with my friend about whatever he wants to discuss.
All right, bro. I believe my poll was, oh, I forgot my poll. It's been so long since I read it. Um, remember what my poll was, Jermaine? I mean, Terrence. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were asking now that things seem to be on point
Yeah.
with the Batman film. Do you believe that it will beat Wonder Woman 1984 at the box office?
Yes. I had a discussion earlier today with Chris Knight and also Sean Stackhouse. And I want to pose a question. I think that Batman is heading in the right direction for many reasons. Pictures that I've seen so far, the suit looks good. I have no issues with that. The new way they developed the car and the way it looked, as long as it stays in one of three storylines to me. If it's the first Batman Year One, if it's the Long Halloween, or if it's anything from Arkham from the games, I think it's going to be successful. So I haven't seen anything. I can't remember the last time the last trailer came out for Wonder Woman. I thought they would have capitalized on Super Bowl in January. They didn't.
Right.
So I don't know what they're waiting on, what they're trying to do, or they're going to try and come out, I guess, a week or two. I mean, a month or two before the movie actually comes out, and they're going to hit us with trailers. But right now, I kind of lost some of my enthusiasm for Wonder Woman.
Um, I think they're waiting to finish up because they said they're done. Patty says she's done shooting, and they're just kind of working on the finer touches, the music and the special effects and stuff like that. But I think they're just waiting a little bit because when you release trailers too early, as you stated, you can lose enthusiasm for it. That can happen with some individuals, unless there is just overall excitement from the person. Like there is a possibility that you have some people like, oh, I haven't seen anything, and now I'm not as excited. But when you wait until it gets closer, it's now fresh in people's mind. So, that is a benefit in itself instead of like releasing it too early and then they could kind of get weaned off of it. So I think this, whatever trailer is coming out next, we will see Cheetah and we will see Wonder Woman fighting Cheetah. And I think that that would increase the interest from individuals that weren't interested before or individuals that maybe have fallen off because it's been too long since they had something. Like I think that they're waiting just to drop that big trailer because Wonder Woman has the established reputation and a lot of humans they enjoyed the first movie and then that word of mouth boosted it past 800 million. So there definitely is trust in regards to the director and the actress and the people involved. So I think that the next trailer is important to increase this enthusiasm. But I think that even if, say, the trailer is not as good as the first one or whatever, I still think that the film is going to make a lot of money. But I feel like, you want that next impression to be good so that way it can only further help your box office success.
Yeah, that makes sense what you're saying. I can't say that I disagree with anything that you said. Um, I'm kind of biased because I'm a much bigger Batman fan than Wonder Woman. So I'm rooting for Batman. Batman is my favorite DC character. Um,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so time is going to tell. I do definitely believe that the trailer is good for Batman. I don't know about Wonder Woman. Now, one thing that sticks to my mind with the Wonder Woman trailer is she was kind of like jumping from lightning bolt with that lasso.
Yeah.
Now that was hot. I
Yeah.
don't know how that's going to play into, but that's one of the scenes that sticks in my mind. Like I've
Right.
never even seen that even in the comic books. So if they pull that off and it looks good, then I'm definitely going to be. Uh,
And I mean, with that point you just made, I mean, a lot of people, they were already on board when they heard that a sequel was being announced. But like once that trailer dropped and, they saw the action and her swinging from the lightning, like that was already a selling point enough, whether that be for the fans or the masses. So they always, whenever you put out a trailer for something, you always want to have what they call a hook, something to get someone to go,
Hmm.
now I'm going to see that, or now I'm getting the tickets. Like it's got to be somewhere in that trailer, you
I
know.
agree.
So with this Batman trailer, because they'll give us a teaser first. It'll probably be anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. And then, I mean, they could drop like what they call a teaser, and then it could be 2 minutes. But whatever they decide to drop, it's very important that it's on point and that we don't have to wait till like the second or third trailer. Because even though it is Batman, and so many people are going to turn up no matter what because the curiosity is there. Like I will be turning up for different reasons because Batman is my favorite superhero in general, but
Hmm.
also is a curiosity to see, how Robert Pattinson does and, what storyline or storylines that they're pulling from. So I have like a lot of different reasons as to why I'm going to show up. But, most people are not like me. They're not going to just show up by default. Sometimes they need
Uh-huh.
a little bit of a push.
I got you.
Um, and even if I weren't a Batman fan, as you've heard me say, I'm a movie guy. I love movies. So you're going to get me no matter what, but it's not about me. It's about everyone. And you really need to convince them because there are plenty of people that are hesitant for whatever reason. They don't like the costume. They don't like Robert Pattinson. They're not sure about the villains yet. They don't know what the story is yet. So when you drop the teaser or whatever you decide to drop, it's very important that you have something that's so good that anyone that's on the fence will now be over the fence buying their tickets. That's what you need to do.
I agree. 1,000%. Before we go any further, how you doing, Mads?
I'm doing okay. Just got in actually.
All
Saw your
right,
link.
not a problem. I was sending the link because that's how I can send the link directly to Terrance because he don't have Twitter, which I wish he would get, so I can see him the link directly.
It would
But
be easier.
we gonna work around it.
Okay.
Glad you could join us. Um, Killer, I'm gonna ask one question on the chat before we go any further.
Mhm.
I very seldom watch UFC fighting, so I couldn't discuss it intelligently. I feel like Terrence does. I see he done a few videos on it. And the only anime that I watch really seriously is Dragon Ball Z. So
Mhm.
anything other than that, I really couldn't talk to you intelligent about it. And I'm not saying I'm not a fan of UFC, but I don't watch it. I'm not paying for 75, whatever the case. I'm not watching. Wait, it's
Oh,
not that important to me.
oh yeah, I could really get into the
Yeah,
entire history of
I,
UFC. So
yeah, I knew that you could, but maybe one day we'll do that, and I'll just sit back and eat popcorn and let you discuss that with Killer, because like I said, the only one that was really excited for was Mayweather versus guy from England. I can't think of his name.
talking about Conor McGregor.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
only one that was so hype and crappy that I didn't really think was going to be much nothing. But other than that, I couldn't tell you 10 people in the boxing world or 10 people in UFC now. I mean, not saying
Yeah,
I wouldn't watch it, but I just don't. All right.
yeah, like yeah, because that's like one of my favorites right there, Connor. So
Yeah.
I definitely paid attention to that for sure,
Yeah.
and he did better than I thought he would do, but
Yeah.
he almost suffered brain damage because he was going up against Floyd. I'm like,
Mhm.
you
Mayweather
can't,
is a master of defense, so you ain't gonna hit him nothing but X amount of times.
right,
That's what he
and
hangs his hat on.
he can also take a punch too. So like, I mean, he took a punch from one of the hardest hitters in UFC history, and a
Yeah.
man that is significantly bigger than he is too. So like, the fact that he was able to take his hits was impressive enough, and then he pretty much had him drunk on his feet, as we fighters would say, which means that you're knocked out, but you're still standing. So
Yeah.
at that point, you should stop the fight. Otherwise, the person is going to suffer brain damage and so on.
Um. Next topic. Um. Maz, you watch Black Lightning?
Black Lightning? Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about this latest episode of Black Lightning. Earlier this week, I talked to Terrance. Danny, did you watch Black Lightning? I said no, I haven't seen it yet. And the reason why I haven't seen it yet because CW, where I live at in South Carolina, has lost its damn mind. For whatever reason, they have taken off all superhero shows on the CW and replaced it with some bullshit like The Doctors or something. I was trying to figure out why is this happening? Why are they messing up my world? But then I was able to realize that CW has a free app you can download. So
Hmm.
I downloaded the CW app, but I got clock midnight the next day to watch the show. Well, there's about 10 or 15 shows that I watch weeks so I can stay up on different conversations. But I think I watched it yesterday. I think I talked to Terrance, or maybe the day before even. And man, it was awesome. I cannot wait till it comes on Monday, tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So so I will definitely I may stay up to 1 o'clock so I can watch it. Um Twist that blew my mind was that they're related.
Yeah.
Gravedigger and Black Lightning are related. Gravedigger is like Black. Well, first of all, this is gonna be a disclaimer. Full spoiler. If you haven't watched it, then stop right now because we're gonna talk about
Yeah.
it. That was what blew my mind. Um, and I thought that Black Lightning was gonna tell him, but look like he's not gonna tell him. So I don't know how that's gonna play out.
Um.
Go
Well,
ahead.
it, like when it comes to someone revealing that a person is your family member that you don't like, you have a lot of the whole person not wanting to accept it and them saying it out loud is like them admitting the truth. And
Mm-hmm.
usually, someone like Black Lightning or most heroes in general, they're often very proud and they do not want to accept that any of their relatives or friends are evil
Or the
or
bad guy.
villains. Yeah, so um, that's probably why he's not like trying to talk to him yet. I mean, once they start slugging it out, if it gets to the point to where Gravedigger is going to die, then maybe at that point he would use the family card to try to reason with him. But at the same time, I don't know how much that's going to work because once you've already decided that you're going to slap away a person's hand when they extend it to you, then that's like the ultimate form of disrespect. And it makes it even worse that you happen to be their family member.
Yeah.
It it's still, one of those hard things that nobody really knows how to approach. I mean, it happened to my cousin after her dad passed away. Somebody showed up at their doorstep, and turns out it was her half brother that nobody knew about. So it's one of those that you don't really. It's an awkward conversation to start with. I can make it smaller.
Um, well, in my personal position, like I don't I don't have like awkward or embarrassing moments. Like if I were in a situation where someone spoke to me and they're a family member and I don't agree with their position or they're evil or whatever the scenario is, it still doesn't compromise who I am as a person because I live by a set of rules. So if anything, it would be like, okay, well, what's on the table? Like, what are you trying to tell me? And it really would just come down to if I agree with that individual or if I like that individual. There'd be a few variables, but they won't have to explain or try to, comfort me. All that stuff is not necessary. Just tell me, what you want, who you are, and why you're talking to me specifically. That's all they need to do.
Yeah. Also in the episode, it showed how Gravedigger is like the first. Uh, what's the terminology they use for him? Not
Mhm.
He's the first of his.
You talking about metahumans?
He's the first metahuman, and that's why he can absorb all of those different.
Mhm.
Right.
I mean, family is a big thing to Jefferson, so it's going to play out more than likely in an interesting way. And it's more than likely it's gonna come to the point where Gravedigger finds himself under fire or at threat. That'll be the deciding factor.
Jefferson would never, I think, increase his power unless it was something dire. But I can
Yeah.
see Jennifer using stuff to make herself stronger.
Hmm.
She's my least favorite out of the three.
Now, but in terms of Jennifer, like her problem is, well, she has a few problems at the moment, but like one of her main problems is that she has a what I would call a very typical slash disgusting need to prove to others that she can do certain things because she always feels like she's being treated like a child and that she's not given the same privileges as everyone else, so to speak, and that really clouds her judgment, which is not good for any superhero. Like if you're trying to prove yourself, the last thing that you should be doing is doing things that will make others look down on you in a negative light. You're not helping your case by doing that. Also, you might not only end up getting yourself killed, but maybe someone that you care about, which is bad.
Exactly. Going alone, getting TC to help her was crazy.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
going off alone as a gravedigger, as you watch in the episode, he was studying all of them and seeing their moves. He had all their powers and stuff. Nobody seems to be studying Gravedigger. And
It's exactly. That is a perfect point. Like, what was I doing? I told my mom that when I was like doing the dishes or whatever, because she was like, "Yeah, I'm on the part where they're gathering, they're doing the family dinner, and Nissa's gonna get married." And I was like, "See, I noticed that right away because it's just the way that I've been like taught to analyze and study things." So from my perspective, I'm just like, you got one person that is studying how to deal with potential enemies should they not choose a side with him. You
Hmm.
got these individuals over here doing normal, basic human things. Like you should not be doing that in a time of war or when like an extreme threat is on the way. That's like the worst thing you could do. So if I were part of that group of Black Lightning, I'd have been like, look, you guys can do this, but I'm gonna be preparing for Gravedigger. Like you guys are being silly here. Like there's no time for this. This doesn't make any sense. You're being distracted. And even Gamby at one point was trying to discuss tactics, and then they were like, no, no,
yeah,
Gamby, let's just focus
yeah,
on being
yeah.
normal. It's like,
If I
nah,
know I'm
man.
going to war tomorrow, okay, I might do one thing. I'm just gonna leave it there. But totally be oblivious to I'm gonna have this. No, I'm gonna be preparing and trying to come up with scenarios that's gonna best guarantee me a safe return and my team a safe return. They don't seem to have that sense of urgency. They're sitting in this lot.
I was gonna say.
Wait, what was that, Danny? Is like, sound like you cut out, man.
Stream.
Fighting him today.
Can you hear me now?
I can
Yeah, I
hear you.
can.
Stream order. Hold on 1 minute. Okay. I was saying it was not imperative that they had to get married now before they was about to go out on the battlefield. They're not studying Gravedigger. They're just thinking that, okay, I'm invincible, I'm super strong, nothing can beat me. She done saw that painkiller almost killed her because she was overconfident.
Yeah,
Um, the young Jennifer, as we saw in the episode, was dead till her dad brought her back, shocking her 2 or 3 times. The only one that seems to have a healthy fear or look or thinking that look, I can be beat or I gotta be careful is Black Lightning. And then sometimes he kind of lets it go to the wayside too and kind of get feels overconfident in his abilities. So I just think that they need to be more like Gamby because Gamby seems to be kind of like the Batman on there. He's got a contingency for everything, or he has some kind of knowledge of what could possibly help or not help. And they don't seem to tap into that until it's something that's really serving themselves or when their back is really up against the wall instead of just listening to him when he's trying to tell them what they need to do.
Well, in terms of Black Lightning, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's in the context of the show or in the comics. Like his biggest weakness is his family, and what I mean by that is like he can have an idea, and his ex or his daughters can say something, and he completely abandons what he was going to do initially, which is a problem. Like you should never be able to be swayed so easily by your emotions or your family. That's how you make mistakes. That's how people die. And someone like Black Lightning would feed me the whole like, well, everyone makes mistakes, but I'm like, if you're making mistakes in these kinds of situations, maybe you don't get to make another one. So better be it that your family is mad at you versus you and or your family being dead.
I agree, 1,000%. Also, there was something else on the show that gave me cause for pause. Um, that backdoor dealing with Lady Eve and I can't think of the guy from the Terminator. Agent what's the guy
Oh,
name?
you talking about
Agent
Agent Odell?
yeah,
He was in Predator, yeah.
yeah. Agent Odell and daggone Lady Eve. They coming
Yeah.
up with other backdoor stuff. She wouldn't be back on the shadow board and she want to be back in business. Then I still ain't understand. Do they have a Lazarus pit or is it some other kind of technology they're using?
No, it's some other technology that's similar to the Lazarus Pit, but it's not the Lazarus Pit exactly because when they're when they're brought back, they're virtually the same. And with the Lazarus Pit, you're always different every single time that happens, and your sanity gets more and more depleted. So that's how you know it's not the Lazarus Pit.
Mhm.
But why does it seem that he has every person he's killed, their soul, I guess, is tattooed to his body? They don't seem to be haunting him like they were the first or second season. But now it seems that Lady Eve doesn't have that problem.
Well,
So I guess they
that's well in the case of Lala, it was specifically put upon him in a way to punish him because he was unmanageable. Like he always wanted to, even though he was being under Tobias and Lady Eve, he always wanted to do his own thing and he always wanted to rise above them and his ambitions were high. So they did that as a way to punish him. Like, yeah, you remember all those people you killed? Well, you're going to feel something now as a way to let you know that whenever you think you're going to rise above us, just remember that we can do this to you. So that's why that's happening to him specifically.
okay. All right. Good understanding of that. Trying to think what else happened on the show that was kind of crazy. Um, seems seems now that Lynn's kind of getting over her habit fairly quickly. I don't see her using like she did. I'm kind of tired of the storyline of the guy trying to kill that other doctor, Dr. Jace, because of his mom. That's getting a little old. I really don't like his character. So
Oh, you talking about Brandon, right?
yeah, I don't. I
Well,
don't.
I I don't mind it, but it's like I remember when he said when they were coming up with the code names, and then he was about to say Geoforce,
Uh huh.
which is a character that comes from Markovia, who's not black, and he's connected to Markovian family royalty. So when I heard him start to say that, I'm like, wait, he can't be that Geoforce because the number one, like he is black, and number two, there's been no ties to Markovia specifically. So I'd be like, that'd be like one of those
Do
really
you think?
weird twists,
Do you
you
think his
know?
dad may be that other black guy that can teleport and do all that kind of crazy stuff? You
That
think that could be his
that
dad?
maybe because like that's what I'm saying. Like it would have to be like this big twist where he didn't know or something, and then it turned out that that guy teleporting is his dad, or maybe someone else is his dad and he thought he was dead, and then we find out why that happened, and maybe he tried to
Yeah.
protect him, or any number of scenarios. But like I'm like, that would have to be a big twist because I was expecting Giovanni from Markovia to be Geoforce. So now see that's one of the reasons
I
why
thought I thought I
uh
thought Geoforce was Brion.
yeah, Brion, not Giovanni. Yeah, Brion. Like Brion, I think his last name is Giovanni, Brion Giovanni, something like that. But
Markov. Markov.
like yeah, that's right, that's right. Okay, yeah, Brion Markov, that's right. Yeah, the
Yes.
Markovs. But like so um but yeah, his family is connected to Markovia, and there's all kinds of conspiracies and stuff going on there. So I would have that's why I don't like when they do race and gender swapping, because it throws me off. Now I'm just like, okay, what are you trying to do here? What kind of twist? Because then now you have to reorganize the story to fit the narrative that you're telling, and then it may or may not work. And so I don't know, but in terms of the Brandon character, like he's all right. Like I find him interesting, and like I want to see what he does going forward. Because Dr. Jace, like,
Hmm.
man, she ain't gonna be around that much longer. I have a feeling that he's gonna kill her. So
Yeah. Jace is getting on my nerve. I don't care for Brandon. Sometimes Jennifer gets on my nerve. She the most interesting character on there now to me is Painkiller. The fight between him and Jaleel, I think that's very good at writing. How he's able to flip now, and Painkiller seems to be taking control. They're kind of going back and forth. I like the way they're doing that.
Hmm.
right, yeah. My mom, like, she was saying, like, how come Khalil was letting those people beat on him? I'm like, it's not so much that he's letting them; it's just like the way that he thinks and the way that Painkiller thinks are two different things, which is why we
Yeah.
saw when he took over, Bones was getting broken. He was killing him
Mm-hmm.
without hesitation. Like, so to
Yeah.
in my opinion, Painkiller is the definition of strength, and Khalil is the definition of weakness. Because Khalil is gonna get stumped out and killed, as where Painkiller, he's just like, no, you're attacking me, you die, or I make it to where you're unconscious, which is what you're supposed to do. You cannot show
Mm-hmm.
people that kind of mercy. It's illogical, it's ridiculous, and
I,
that's
I
something that is programmed into you by
I think
his
I
his
think
mother.
Khalil is more compassion than weakness.
Yeah.
Um compassion is a form of weakness in that situation, because
In a life and death situation, I understand what you're saying.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not.
yeah,
We're talking about a general life situation. There's a difference.
right. Yeah, like in that situation, that's definitely weakness, but outside of that though, Khalil was he's often very hesitant, and he bounces back and forth, and he doesn't know how to manage his emotions really well. He thinks that it's best for him to run away versus address his problems. While he's a very good character, like I said, like he has a lot of weaknesses, which
Yeah.
that
I,
situation is going to lead him to get killed if Painkiller doesn't take over.
that's right. It reminds me kind of the David Banner and Hulk when he become Professor Hulk. How they should have done it when they merged Khalil and Painkiller, and they were able to coexist. Kind of like on Flash, the way Killer Frost and I can't think her
Caitlin Stone.
Catherine Caitlin. I wish there was a way that they could kind of blend, but only one can really be leading at the other at one time. They don't. They haven't found out that blend yet. So I think this season now Killer Frost is mainly the primary, I guess, possessor of the body. I guess, and
Hmm.
she can hear Caitlyn's thoughts, but it can only be one or the other. It can't be both. So whenever they find out the formula where they can both kind of coexist at the same time, I think that's going to be pretty interesting.
Right, but I mean the only problem with Painkiller and Khalil compared to the examples that you gave is the other ones are one and the same. in terms of Painkiller, he's literally a program that was put in Khalil. So
Mhm.
it would have to be that,
You would
you know,
think that, but at first, remember when he said, when you were a track star, I was the one that made you strive to be better. That was before he was Painkiller.
now see, now I definitely do remember that, and I chalk that up as being nothing more than Painkiller further trying to get in his head, because I'm like, you can't, you being a program, you can't influence someone without being there. That's the whole purpose of the program, to rearrange the makeup of what makes the person who they are. So I'm just like, nah, he's just talking babble. That doesn't even make any sense. That, oh yeah, I was there when you did how? You weren't even a thought
It
yet.
makes it seem like he's actually a piece of his conscience.
That's what I think too. He seems more like his drive, like it's an extension of a part,
It's kind
like
of
you
like
said.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah,
Are they different or are they one and the same?
Well,
Because there are some aspects of Hyde and Jekyll, but the potion is what made Hyde came out.
hmm
okay, well,
So
if you go from, if you go from the drive angle, it doesn't change the fact that something has been inserted to greatly change or make something incredibly different because it's an add-on. Like I have my drive that I have now, but if you
mhm.
put a program in me, no matter what my drive is, it's not going to match an entire computer program that's meant to turn me into something that I'm not, which would be an assassin. That's like
Okay,
something where in my wildest dreams, I couldn't imagine that. Not really, not into the full detail where you have genius level people specifically in certain things to make sure that you specifically do what they want.
I
You know,
get what
we're
you're
we're,
saying,
we're
but
venturing into like uncharted territory.
in the comic book world, I think it seems like this is something like untapped potential. And I give you an
hmm
example. Did you when you talked about it last night? You didn't care for Ragnarok,
Right.
correct?
No, I did not.
He was Thor, but when he came to that town, when that lady kind of brushed his broad, she kind of unlocked his potential. And then slowly but surely he came. First, he discovered he had the strength when he threw that hammer about 1,500 kilometers or some crazy distance. Then he found out he had speed. Then when the snowplow hit him, did you watch all the whole thing or you stop?
No. See, like I stopped after one episode. Like with shows, like you have
Okay,
1 to 2 episodes to get my attention, and then if you do
parents,
not, then I just
listen
kind
to
of,
me. Listen to me. Watch all 6 shows. My daughter pulled my coattail of that last night. She said, "You seen Ragnarok yet, Dan?" I said, "No, I ain't seen it." She said, "Well, I can't believe it because usually you be up on the Marvel things and you be telling us." I said, "Well, I ain't heard of that." She said, "Me and my husband watched it." She said, "The first episode is a little slow." She said, "But give the second one." And man, it reeled me in. It reeled me in so much that I started watching that thing at 11 o'clock. I didn't stop till 5 o'clock this morning and went to bed. So I'm
yeah.
telling you, if you watch it
I,
and give it a chance, I think you'll like it.
I just had a problem with like when I watched the trailer, I was like,
This is okay. This ain't nothing like Marvel Thor. It got some aspects of it, but it's more kind of okay. How Heath Ledger Joker was more of the cartoon Joker,
hmm
and Joaquin Phoenix is more of like a realistic thing that could happen if somebody has a bad day and they snap. It's kind of like that. It's not. He's not flying around. He's not from Asgard, but the way
right,
they
he's
do the
from
show,
Norse mythology. Like I
yes.
get it. Like I mean, only like I've had so many discussions where I'm like, you know, this is pulled from like Norse mythology, right? They just put
Uh huh.
a Marvel spin on it, but I'll tell you a good example of Thor outside of Marvel. It would be a show called American Gods. There's a Thor in there, there's a Loki, and there's an Odin, and they're amazing. Like, and it's so different from the MCU. I'm like, now that's Thor. Like he was just a beast and stuff, but it's just from what I've seen from that show, like it kind of, I don't know, it made me like clench my fist. I'm like, what am I watching here? But I, I
I'm sorry.
I found it to be irritating. That's why I'm like, man, what?
I like. Now I'm saying it's 40. It's 45-minute episode. 45-minute episode. When I saw the first 20 minutes, I was like, okay, this ain't my cup of tea. But I was drawn into it, bro. Real talk. I said the five. I got to bed at 5 o'clock this morning because I watched all 6 episodes back to back. So I thought it was good. Maybe not your
Right.
cup of tea.
I mean, make no mistake though. I'm not knocking the quality of it because when I was analyzing the first episode, I didn't think the quality was bad, but it was like if you're presenting Norse mythology and characters like Thor, this is not how I want to see that. This is like nothing I imagined. I'm like it
Yeah,
just didn't connect with me in
that's
a way that
that's what I did an episode about canon, and that's why when I research the word canon, it mainly refers to biblical texts. It
Mm.
doesn't, and that because right now you can't change the Bible. Everybody that wrote the Bible, everybody that's in the Bible is dead, so it is canon. So you can't change that because the original writers of the Bible are dead, so you can't change it. But
That
Star
doesn't
Wars,
stop everybody from interpreting it in their own way, though.
okay, but I'm saying if you go to each scripture and one scripture
Mhm.
say the sky is blue, the grass is green, water is wet. Okay, it's going to say that every time.
Mhm.
People may interpret it, but basically it's going to say exactly what it's going to say. It's not going to change. When it comes to Star Wars, if people read something in this book, they swear up and down Darth Vader can do this, 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 and this. If they read something in that book, then Luke Skywalker can do this, and this. Then the big screen, and Disney takes over from George Lucas, they are now the owners of Star Wars. So if Disney wants to change what Darth Vader could do back then, or change what Luke Skywalker could do back then the fans ain't got no other choice than to sit down and watch it and then say whether they like it or don't like it. I don't want to hear this crap about canon. If the owners of Star Wars all died and it couldn't change hands, then that's when it would be canon. But as long
right.
as it can change hands and it can change owners, there is no search word as canon because when you own something, you can do whatever you want to.
Well,
Mads
I
can
mean,
own a little red Corvette, but if she sells it to Danny and I want to paint it purple, it ain't no longer a little red Corvette. It's a little purple Corvette. So
well,
you can't be mad. I don't.
well,
That's why I don't hinge all this on canon, and it just ticks me off when people be like, "Canon, canon, canon, canon." No, it's
it
not canon.
like in terms of Star Wars, that's a little different just because there's so much stuff. If I were to mention canon in Star Wars, it would have to specifically mean that I'm talking about the movies or the Mandalorian or the two animated shows, Clone Wars and Rebels. Not so much the EU books, but I would entertain discussions. But I would primarily want it to be centered around something that the majority of the people have digested, because usually the more hardcore fans, if you will, they have read the trillions of books into where I haven't even read one of them just because I didn't really feel that it was necessary. I'm not against it, but I never once watched any sort of movie or show and felt like I was missing information. I was able to intelligently have any sort of Star Wars discussion about any character and never had a single problem. So, like, that's what I'm saying. That's a little different. When it comes to the Bible itself, I don't like that book. I don't trust it. If humans are down with it, that's fine. I mean, I do believe in God and his son Jesus. I have problems with both of them. Like, I'm not gonna really go too much into that because that would take like a 30-hour conversation. But yeah, so like all I'm saying is that there are differences, Danny, and I understand what you're saying, but really it comes down to taste. Like if you like something and if you're familiar with something, it's gonna come down to taste. Like some people may be okay with this, and then you could have me like, I'm not against it, but I'm not jumping over the moon. I mean, I could very well watch episode 3 through 6 or whatever it is, and actually like some scenes and stuff. I'm not saying that that's impossible, but I would rather be excited going into a show versus just but I do respect what you're saying though, Danny, and I trust that you're not jerking my chain or something. Like if I were with you and you wanted to put that on, I'd be completely on board with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. I can only tell individuals what I like, and
Right,
I
right.
can only explain to them my point of view. Whether or not you choose to, I'm gonna use your word, digest it or not, I don't know. But I clearly remember in that conversation we had Monday that you were saying that in the DCL, if you ever see a name on here, Javion Graham, that's my brother, my baby brother. He is like a super marvelous geek and stuff. And he was just chomping at the bit of me today. He said, I want to be on your show, Danny, because some people was sleeping on Thanos. So I guess he terribly disagreed with y'all about Thanos. I did somewhat too, but I kind of went with the crowd because I didn't want to be the oddball out. But
Um,
I say
what?
this to say that you said in Monday's show that you wanted different chefs. You didn't want the same chef to be preparing the same thing. I guess as
Correct.
referring to Disney.
Right.
Okay, these different canon is pretty much the same chef. If you follow canon and you want people to digest and have the same knowledge of something, that's pretty much, in my opinion, you're eating the same food that the same chef prepared. So that's kind
Well,
of, unless I'm
well,
misunderstanding what you said.
okay. Like in this case, when it comes to comic book stuff, it is a little different because, like, if you're telling me you're going to do a Batman story or a Thor story or whoever story, there are so many different interpretations that it's very hard for me to dismiss it altogether. Like the movie would have to be pure 100% trash. You know what I'm saying? Like it. So whether it's coming from the same studio or not, like if it is coming from the same studio, what you will have are patterns. Their formula is more or less predictable in what you would get. So it's understandable to assume that it will be like that until they prove otherwise. But when you have these other studios, they will dive into those different interpretations just to make sure that it is different from what you're already digesting, because they're like, well, we don't want it to look and feel like an MCU movie. You already get enough of those. Did you know about these characters in this form of storytelling? And the masses do not. It's impossible for them to know if they don't read. So it has to be presented to them, and it has to be done in a way to where they can feel that they can digest it without having going to read 2,000 comic books just to understand the first movie. So, I feel like as we approach this, it's important to really break it down case by case because it does vary that much with these things specifically that we're talking about.
I got you. Um, Next topic we're gonna go to. There has been confirmation, as far as the information that I've been reading, that Christian Bale will definitely be in Thor 4, Love and War. Love and Thunder.
Mhm.
Also, I think early rumors and reports were saying that he's going to be Better Ray Bill. What I'm hearing is he's not going to be Better Ray Bill. I'm hearing he's going to be a villain, and most likely he's going to be the villain called Gore the God Butcher.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Now, if that is true, I think that villain is going to best suit Christian Bale's acting chops. It's going to be very interesting. I don't know how in depth they're going to go to it because I've heard his name briefly, but then I went to research, and I'm gonna give a little bit of research, and we can talk on the subject what you think is going to be or not. Basically, Gore the God Butcher is from a planet that has no name. Um, it was so bad and so inhabitable almost that he had to fight for every scrap of food he got because there was pretty much no food on there. Both his parents died, and their parents in that world was very heavily in believing in gods. And so he used to pray to the gods all the time to help his family and help him survive and help him do this, help him do that. But it seemed like the gods never answered his prayers. So when his family dies, that gave him anger and rage. Then his mate was pregnant with I think their last child, because they had several children before, but they died of starvation. His mate died of starvation. It was just him and his last unborn child, and he still continued to pray to the gods. Gods never answered. It just made him more and more angry. His son died, so he pretty much told the people, he kind of renounced the gods. Look, the hell with them. They ain't answering my prayers, so kiss my ass. So as he gone in different parts of the planet, he comes across two gods fighting. I can't think of what one god named, but one was like the Golden God or something like that. I think he was supposed to be maybe a descendant of Venom, and he
Oh,
had
yeah,
and he
yeah,
had some kind of sword that could slither and take form, kind of like Venom. And so
right.
he was able to defeat that god and
Right.
kill him with that sword. I can't think of the name of it. And then he went for millennia to wherever there was a deity or a god or wherever. He
Mm,
killed them and butchered them, and he absorbed their power and became stronger. And there's
yep,
one thing I read where he met Thor and almost killed Thor, but
yep.
the Vikings came and kind of distracted him, and Thor chopped his arm off, but it didn't kill him. And so he started another killing spree, which got Thor's attention. And so I don't know whether or not we're going to get that version where Thor's going to attack him for a second time. I don't know where Jane is going to come in because
Oh no.
what I'm reading too is that she's going to have cancer, and that's kind of how she gets the hammer to kind of stave that cancer.
No, that's how she got the hammer in the book. So
Yeah, man, Danny, look, like I'm a Marvel fan first in this situation, and not so much an MCU fan first. But like, you know, Jane's comic books, the female Thor, as I call her, I don't like them. Not a single one. Like this whole Jane, oh, I have cancer. Now I have Mjolnir, and it's gonna keep me alive to fight off the cancer. I'm like, man, stop. But I hope that Natalie Portman does a good job. Like I would like the movie to get me to like her character, but I'm much more
Mm-hmm.
interested in the rumors and the possibilities of what can be in that movie. Like Gore the God Butcherer, who
mhm.
literally has, put fear in Thor's heart on multiple occasions, which is not a common thing. So that alone just is enough for me to care about that character. But
Mhm.
the possibility of Beta Ray Bill, who apparently had some scenes in Thor Ragnarok that they cut out, I'm just like, he should have been there like by the second Thor movie. Like, in fact, Beta Ray Bill should have had his own entire arc. He's not a person where you should just show up and punch somebody and then we never see him again. That's Beta Ray Bill. That guy is respected by Odin enough to where they had the dwarves
I
build him a hammer
I
and then give
I,
him an Asgardian costume.
I agree, but Marvel messed up. Kevin Feige missed out on the opportunity because that should have came in when Thor was banished. And when he came back or was allowed to come back to Asgard, that's when he should have ran into Better Ray Bill, and they could have had their little exchange and fight, whatever. That could have been Thor 3 or or Thor 2 instead of that mess that was
Yeah,
Thor.
yeah,
What was it?
Malekith. Ugh,
Yeah,
Malekith.
Thor
What a
2 should
what
have
a
been him,
bitch.
like you said, should have been him encountering Better Ray Bill as he was going back to Asgard. They start fighting. Um, Odin puts him on some planet, and he sees that Better Ray Bill is worthy, and he
It-
creates Stormbreaker. But now that he got Stormbreaker, then that
well,
means if they do bring Better Ray Bill, then if he gives the hammer to Jane, then Thor's not going to be without a hammer. So, I mean,
well, well,
that's not going to work.
well. Here's the thing, though. Like technically speaking, in terms of the Infinity Saga storyline, that Thor shouldn't even be there. It should be another guy called Chris Mastersons, but they didn't skip over that because they like to skip over a lot of stuff. So but since he is there, what they can do is they can have my boy Thor almost get killed by Gore the God Butcher, and then Beta Ray Bill can come in and knock him down real quick, and then they can work together, and we can get some Mjolnir and Stormbreaker tag team action, which is a thing in the comic books. That would be a way to
It
utilize him.
raises this question. In that timeline, Mjolnir doesn't exist anymore. He ashes. He got crushed. That's why they
Yeah,
had
yeah,
him on permanent.
I know, but knowing the MCU, they're going to find a way to bring Mjolnir back. That I don't
Yeah,
believe for a
I
second
forgot
that.
about that. That is true.
Yeah, I don't believe for a second that Mjolnir is permanently gone because Jane Foster Thor has to use Mjolnir, so that there's no way they're gonna find an intelligent way to get them
Yeah,
to
but
make another one.
how they
And
could have
yeah,
done that though was when Captain America took Mjolnir back to the time frame when the ether was in Jane. Maybe they could
hmm
say when they remove the ether, there's some kind of cancerous cells in or whatever.
Hmm.
right,
So
right,
that's how she got worthy, I
right,
guess, because she helped
right. Like it,
Asgard. That was her repayment. But he can only say as long as you're in this form, you won't die. But when you switch back, then you still
yeah,
have the cancer. So
the cancer is
they could
going to
do
eat
that.
you alive. They can definitely do that. Any sort of weapon can be replenished. Most of them. There are like some rare exceptions. Like if you damage like say the Oramasa blade that can kill Wolverine and Deadpool like completely to where you never see him
Terrance,
again, you're not
Terrance,
going to do that.
I just about for 1 minute. Can you imagine carry this on? I have to take care of something.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right.
But yeah, like they'll figure out a way to bring that back into the equation.
Oh, more than likely, it's just I hope it's not some sort of like half backwards contrived reason.
Right.
Just some pull it out of a hat. Like they did with that the last Star Wars movie. Because I don't even feel right even calling it the title they gave it. I mean, they had that Sith dagger that was conveniently shaped into the exact way the wreckage landed.
Right.
Please.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Maz. Like none of that. You're absolutely right. None of that crap. Like we can't. No, 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 no. Man, I do not like that movie. Crap. Ah,
I sat there throughout that whole movie, just listing off the scenes that the original movies that the very scenes in that the Rise was. That originally came from. I'm like, oh, okay. There's Goonies. There's this. There's that one.
yeah, that's
It was
true.
just a cheesy clip show.
Yep.
I got a question from her.
And
Terrance, did you hear about Shang-Chi being centered around a tournament? Hmm.
wait, what was that?
A question from Pert Minded. Terrance, did you hear about Shang-Chi being centered around a tournament?
Oh, no, I did not hear that. I
Hmm.
would need to know what tournament and why, because if he's supposed to be dealing with the Mandarin, then one could only imagine that those sorts of things would be orchestrated by him in an attempt to blindside Shang-Chi and try to kill him, and then take whatever weapons that he may have in his possession, which are some actually very powerful weapons. But um, good question, but it's hard to say without anything for me to go off of. But yeah,
Got Great Words Guy and Joshua Tika just showed up. Honestly, for the first time, I'm not looking forward to a Thor movie because I didn't like Lady Thor to start with. When they first originally introduced it, I felt so bad. I felt so out of place with it. Like
right.
I did not like it because it is something that is, as you mentioned, it's based off of classic mythology.
Yep.
Doing the whole race swapping on that pissed me off originally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, when all I can see is that your only reason for, putting a specific race or gender is for just that, and there's no need for it, then it
Mhm.
becomes irritating unless you prove to me that the material is good. But just initially, I'm like, why did you do this? Why was it
Yeah.
necessary?
Perp says he heard that it's the rumor.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, um, yeah,
Yeah.
if it's a rumor, I mean, it's just like one of those things where maybe not. But like I said, if it happens to be true, I'm sure that it will play very largely into the narrative, and I do believe that it will be connected to the Mandarin, unless on the off chance that it's initiated by Shang-Chi or Iron Fist or another martial artist for whatever reason. I'm assuming that it would have to be connected to the Mandarin, because
Mm.
otherwise, like, you would have to have something to where these people are going to meet, and you know, him wanting to kill him. So
Okay. Also from Perp, do you think we'll see Doctor Doom in this phase or in phase 5?
Um, we will see. We will either see Doctor Doom slightly before the Fantastic Four show up, or slightly after. It could very well be that he is in a some sort of mid-credit scene, and he has already established his power, and he mentions the Fantastic Four and how much they've irritated him, and he's planning on killing them. It could have something like that, or um, this time around with the Fantastic Four movie, you know, maybe they'll have a different villain, and then maybe Doctor Doom is monitoring the situation, like, okay, it's my turn, you know, that kind of stuff.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me if he originally gets introduced in the same way that Doctor Strange did, where
Right.
his name came up in
It was in the Winter Soldier.
thank you. I'm picturing the movie. I'm just drawing a blank on the title. Feel bad about that. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it came up in that way, just by word of mouth,
Right.
originally, and then he's introduced it down the line.
Right. Yeah, yeah. No, that could very well be the case. I mean,
He does run a very big, you know, big company, so that would be an easy Easter egg teaser for them to add in.
that's right. And that's right. And you know, he does literally have his own kingdom of people too. So, you know, they
Mm.
they can they can definitely play it up from different angles, and if they want to, they can insert him with other Marvel villains. Maybe he has been collaborating with Norman Osborn for all I know. Like, I mean, there's so many things that they can do. That would just,
That would be an
whew,
awesome team up.
yeah, like just that'd be sick. Like, you just have Norman Osborn, and he's just like looking at a screen, smiling, and you know,
That'd be,
analyzing maybe a character or something, and then walks in Victor Von Doom. Like,
yeah,
oh,
that would be awesome.
yeah.
Okay,
Man, I
let's
better
see.
calm down on going too deep into these questions, Perp, because then I'm gonna just build this entire world in my head, and then I'm gonna watch it and be like, man, they didn't even do 5% of what I said. Like,
Okay,
dang.
then in that you've got a couple that are actually agreeing upon this. Have you ever thought about writing your own comic book?
Um, I have not really. I don't think I've had a time where I sat down and I was like, you know, I want to, you know, work on a comic book. I have like when I was little, I used to write a lot of like short horror stories, and I did write a couple of scripts, like full blown movie scripts, but not something specifically comic book related.
Mm-hmm.
But
I know, but
yeah, you know, at this moment in time, I don't really see why I would do that. But like, maybe if you know, I met a certain person, and I was on board with something, I can maybe see myself getting into it. But I just haven't really given that a lot of thought, honestly.
another question was for you. But yeah, actually, personally, I had for a while there, but more of the Garfield, type comic strips.
Right,
Garfield over the hedge, that kind of stuff. Because and just largely based upon the wacky, ish that me and my sisters got up to when we were growing up.
right,
Because we, we've had the waterfall bed. My sister broke a queen size water bed, and that was a mess.
right,
Cheerio aliens, just lots of weird, you know.
right, right. I mean that's cool. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like you can definitely do something that I'd be interested in. That's for sure. So, you know, I can
Hmm.
see that.
Thank y'all for covering for me.
Yeah, no
Oh
problem.
yeah, no worries.
Stole one of my trucks. Woo-hoo!
Wait, what happened?
I said just sold one of my trucks, so I'm happy, 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 happy.
Awesome.
Oh, cool.
What are we talking about now, ladies and gents?
We were talking about Mads' wonderful creativity. That's
Okay.
Oh, we were largely answering the chat, and the topic of creating your own comics came up. So comic books and that stuff.
I had two stories that I picked around a long time ago, but I am not a writer, so I'm like, man, ain't nobody gonna ever do this. But maybe one day.
um you know if what would be pretty interesting expanding upon uh that question. I would not mind like doing something for Warner Brothers or for Kevin Feige in terms of the creative department because they are very much lacking in that area because what you really have are people that just kind of spit out ideas, but they're not all very knowledgeable about that. Like Kevin Feige would be the most obviously out of everyone that's there, and then the same thing on Warner Brothers' side. So I feel like if they wanted to have me, come up with storylines and stuff like that, I would be very intrigued with that idea, and I can give them more stuff that would get a reaction out of the fans specifically, and
Let,
I would
let,
tell them
let,
not to do certain things.
Mhm.
let you think of a question. I'm gonna ask each one of you. If you had the ability, resources, take one established franchise now, build upon it. Which one would you do? Which franchise would you take, and what direction would you go into it? Let's start with
Uh,
Maz first. If tomorrow you woke up and they said, Fairy Godmother said, Maz, we're going to give you one franchise and we're going to give you complete creative control over money, time, resources. Uh, which franchise would you pick, and how would you, what direction would you go in it?
Personally, um, I'd be split between DC and honestly Harry Potter.
I knew you was going to say that.
Well, you guys have hung out with me enough.
I knew it was
That
going to be
that's where,
another Catwoman story, and another
yeah,
version of Harry Potter.
yeah. See them done right. And in that same respect, I would love to get the to finally get Phoenix done right on the big screen.
I'm going to say this, it's
But
probably going to make you mad,
mhm.
but I wasn't mad at Holly Berry's Catwoman the way she tackled it.
I
Just
honestly no, I
the storyline was just awful.
um,
no, Matthew, she
Danny,
did a decent Catwoman.
uh,
It's There was just some
Go,
serious script issues.
go
um,
ahead, Terrance.
I'm sorry, my phone was breaking up, but I think you said something along the lines of Holly Berry's Catwoman.
No,
Wasn't
no, no,
that
no,
bad or something?
no, 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 no. I'm saying the way that her take on Catwoman wasn't as bad as the whole movie itself.
Hmm.
Just like
Um,
Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze
oh
wasn't
no.
bad, but the Batman and Robin movie sucked. That's what
Oh,
I'm saying.
I'm sorry. I'm having a mild heart attack, Danny. Give me a
You can have
second.
a heart attack all you want. Okay, we're
D-
not
d-
counting the 1966.
uh, uh,
They were the best, and the best one was Julie Nemo to me. And then I never did like Earth the Kids. The other one was something Merriweather, Lee Merriweather. I think hers was
Yep.
okay,
well,
but the best one
well,
was Julie Newmar. Okay,
Hmm.
Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman.
Hmm.
It was what's the one with Batman?
Batman Returns.
the skinny girl. I can't think of her name. That
And
played
Um.
Hathaway.
in the Dark Knight.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
Hathaway.
yeah. I like Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway, and I can't think. Those are only three.
Um.
You mean to
Oh
tell
yeah.
me that?
Don't
Go
forget
ahead.
Cameron Bikendova from Gotham, and then that
Mhm.
that second chick that played her towards the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. She,
But
she might be,
man,
but
I
you really didn't see Catwoman. You saw Selena. You didn't
okay,
actually see Cat.
but to be fair though, like the way that they portrayed her, I'm like, yo, man, she's Catwoman. She just don't have a costume. But to be fair though, she was wearing the goggles, which is one of her outfits, by the way. Like she has
Mhm.
those little goggles and a little hoodie
Mhm.
thing that she has. Like that was actually one of her costume interpretations that didn't stick
Yeah.
around for a while. So I see how someone can argue that she didn't have her recognizable costume, but I'm like, that's not wrong. That's actually something that we've never seen before, and I'm glad they did it because that also makes her different from the other actresses that have played Catwoman that have virtually more or less worn the same damn costume with a couple little
Well,
tweaks.
Mhm.
I guess it's made a tomato. I'm not going to ever say Holly
Man,
Berry sucked at anything. So
oh, oh,
you can
okay,
have a heart
okay.
attack, a stroke.
No,
Uh,
Danny, you're my friend. You can't be trying to kill me, Danny. This
I
is
ain't
not
trying.
right.
I'm just telling you, Holly Berry. I ain't gonna never say she sucked at any of her movies.
Oh, man, forget
Uh,
the coronavirus. Danny about to kill me. Like, man,
okay, okay.
but Danny, if I can, as the humans say, meet you halfway. Um,
Let me see what your
this is what I'll
compromise
say.
is.
This is what I'll say about Holly Berry. I think that you know she did her best as Catwoman with the material that she was given, which was definitely trash.
That's just what I said.
Right. However, uh, I'm I'm only pausing because I'm getting over my heart attack. All right, so
Okay.
so
So
but
put Holly Berry's Catwoman and Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. You don't think that would
it's
work?
um like
Just
put
switch
them
them. Take her and put in Batman and Batman Return. Well, Batman Returns, and take
okay.
Michelle Pfeiffer and put in that Catwoman thing. Michelle Pfeiffer would have been this sultry Catwoman because what was the lady, the bad guy,
Um,
Stone, Sharon Stone.
Mhm.
She's not a good actress enough to play off of it. The plot was crazy and stupid. It was about some kind of poison makeup. Who gives a rat's ass about poison makeup?
okay, so
Well,
The
kind
whole
of,
storyline.
but
you're saying put Holly Berry in Michelle
Yeah,
Pfeiffer's Catwoman suit?
yes. No, I'm saying switch. If you could put the Catwoman how it was portrayed in Catwoman, take her
Hmm.
out and put her into Batman Returns. You don't think that she would make that movie or do just as well as Michelle Pfeiffer with that particular strip?
Ooh, I have to definitely break that down. I'll start by saying that number one, Holly Berry would look amazing in that Catwoman suit that Michelle Pfeiffer was in, and she would actually look better than her if you put that on her.
Not
Man,
even saying the
that
suit. I'm saying the actress.
no,
Switch
I
actors.
know, but I'm just breaking it down. All right, 'cause so
Okay.
then in terms of the actress, right? I feel that
Yes.
Holly Berry definitely could have killed it just as much, if not more. Because between you and me, I think Holly Berry is a better actress than Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm
Okay.
just saying that right now. And then
Okay.
after that, so I think that if you would have had Holly Berry in her place, on top of what I just said about me thinking that she would look better in a suit, I think that she would have elevated the movie because I personally think she's a better actress. There you
Okay.
go.
So essentially, you just said the same thing I said the first time that you had a heart attack
But
on.
no,
I
no, no, no.
said, yeah. I said Holly Berry was her portrayal of Catwoman wasn't bad. She was just in it. That's basically what I said. Is that not true, Mads?
yeah.
but
That's what
but
I
but
said.
but
You
but here's
just
the
said the
thing
same
though.
thing.
But Danny, but here's the thing though, my friend. You see, the thing is, in that movie, I thought she was trash too.
Oh
Like
my!
I thought everything was trash.
Now you're giving
So
me a heart attack.
see, now you know how I
Trash,
feel. I almost died.
trash,
Now you almost done.
trash, and Holly Berry is oxymoron. They don't even go together.
I don't know, man. Like as of
I
her
know,
recent movies, man, she's definitely been some trash. Like I don't.
man.
I'm like Holly, you suck in this movie. This movie, like look up her last
The
four
last,
movies.
the last. Well, I know that ain't true because I saw her in John Wick. She was awesome.
Okay, with the exception of John Wick. Anything where she was
I, I, you said last four?
okay, but to
John
me
Wick.
that's not a Holly Berry movie. She's just in it for some scenes.
Okay,
Like
the
she's
last
not
two
even
movie,
the main character.
the last two movie I saw her in, really big budget movie. Before that was one. Was she in a Daniel Craig James Bond movie?
Hmm.
No, you're thinking of Pierce Brosnan. That's like Die Another Day.
She was in Pierce. I thought she was in a Daniel
Yeah,
Craig
and that
movie too.
no, that was Pierce Brosnan's last 007 movie, and it was awful. But yeah, she was in that, and that was trash. Pierce Brosnan was still dope, but it's just the movie itself was
Pierce Brosnan is
awful.
my top. Is my top three. My top three James
And I can respect that. My favorite is definitely Daniel Craig, but that's respectable. I'm not even going to
Bond.
argue with that at all.
Daniel Craig. He ain't in
Yeah.
my top three. He ain't in my.
Oh man, like man. Okay,
No.
okay now in terms of Bond actors, you can name any of them for the most part, and I don't
Sean
have a
Connery
problem
is
with
the top. Sean
that. That's fine, and I'm not against that. But that's what I'm saying. Like with the James Bond actors, there isn't anyone that I dislike. So no matter who you say,
Well, I'm
I
not.
will technically be in agreement, even if, like how I just said, Daniel Craig is my favorite, but it's
I'm
not
not a
like
fan of
everybody.
Roger Moore. And there was one between Roger Moore and James Bond, and then Sean Connery. I can't think of his name.
Oh, that's fine. Like, but I mean, I don't disagree with you. I just want you to understand that. Even though Daniel Craig is my favorite, I like your choices too because I thought they all did a good job in different
Okay.
ways. They all brought something special. But Daniel Craig is the one that completely changed the entire franchise. I'm like, you stepped in and you just made all the other Bonds look bad by just
Yeah,
being
but he
able to
don't
beat
look.
the crap out of people. Like,
He don't
man,
seem
like,
cool to me. When I think of James Bond, I think of someone that's cool, debonair, suave, and then when he flipped that script. But I mean, I'm not a meat gazer by no means, but Daniel Craig ain't even attractive according to compared to other ones. To me. Yeah,
okay.
you
Well,
know.
here's the thing though. If you with James Bond, in terms of having a franchise, if you are not accepted by most people, they don't give you 5 movies. That would never happen. You have to do it by the first movie, and then maybe they will give you one more. Like when one of the actors of Bond, he only did a few of them. That's why. And it might have been the one you mentioned because most people did not take to him. So most people were accepting of Daniel Craig. And also look at how much money like Skyfall made, for example, over $1 billion. Like there ain't no way that most people are gonna be like, nah, I don't be
Let me see
fucking with Daniel
who was the first
Craig.
James Bond. Let me see who that.
So I'm just saying, like, most people seem to be in agreement that he is dope. And they appreciate the differences because he's not trying to be like any of the ones that came before him. He's trying to be his own interpretation, which is what you should do. As far as I'm concerned, if you mention the top 5 Bond movies of all time, 2 of his movies are in the top 5. That's Casino Royale and that's Skyfall. And then whatever other 3 that someone wants to name, completely fine by me as long as it's not certain ones. Like when I hear the names, I'm like, nah, that's not no top 5 right there. But but for the most part, you could pick whatever 3 you want.
Okay, there's two of them I never heard of. I never heard of David Evian or George Lazenby,
Oh yeah, I know those 2.
but I've heard Sean Connery, Roger Moore,
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, and Daniel Craig. Me, my three are Sean Connery, Timothy Dalton, and Pierce Brosnan.
And that's fine. I completely respect that list, Danny, because as far as I'm concerned, they all did a great job. Like I said, just in different ways. But to
Okay,
me, I think it's much more impressive for you to come in after all these people that have come before you having decades of material and essentially make the franchise your own. That is close to impossible to pull off. And Daniel Craig did that. And he did that in the face of initial doubt at first when they casted him for Casino Royale. And you did have some people like, hey man, I don't know about this dude. But then when Casino Royale came out, people were like, okay. Then you see Quantum Solace, more people are on board. And then by the time you get to Skyfall, Danny, over $1 billion. So you're talking about his fan base grew every single Bond movie, including the budget itself and how much stunts were put into it. Like his Bond run is very interesting in the sense of how he built his fan base as he was making each movie. That's very impressive, and it's rare.
I'll give you all that because I really don't give a rat's ass about James Bond one way or the other. So
But-
I will concede. I will concede to what you said about Daniel Craig's rise to power and how he did all that. I think it's being
Okay,
pushed
but
back.
let me ask you this, Daniel.
Go ahead.
Let me
Yes,
ask you
sir.
this real quick. So,
Mhm.
okay, so I know this is his last Bond movie, but say, I guess there's like a few questions. Now, have you seen all of his Bond movies, or
I think I've seen Solace. I don't think I've seen the last one. What was the last one called?
Spectre?
And that was about his girlfriend got killed and he was still feeling kind of out of it.
Yes, that movie. That movie to me was it was fair enough, but it I wouldn't put it on the level of say Skyfall and Casino Royale, right? But like that movie has the villain was really good, and then you have that villain being able to break James Bond physically and mentally, right?
I'm going to have to be hypocritical like I call Star Wars fans when they say that's not my Luke Skywalker. Well, Daniel Craig is not my James Bond. I grew up seeing James Bond, like I said, cool, smooth. You may get him down for a minute, but he always comes out on top. This guy, he seems more rugged, alcoholic, like he really don't get along with M. And like I said, he just does not grab my attention like the other ones did. Not saying that he's worse or better, but far as when I see the commercials and I look at them, I just don't see. First of all, I don't see James Bond being blonde. James Bond being blonde. That's one of the things. I guess my eye test. Cause I'm always used to seeing James Bond with dark hair.
That was actually a common thing. What you just said, that was one of his hurdles. Why is he blonde? How come he doesn't look like blah 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 blah? And then they start going through all the names, and I'm like, because I like him as an actor. I was like, I hope that he can just like his Bond movies are so damn good that he can get people on board.
Yeah,
Which
I see,
actually, yeah,
I don't have the names like you do, but I like the one where he put that bomb in that African warlord's stomach or in his mouth or something, and he did send him back to the warlord, and he was like, "Why did he cut his tongue out? Why can't he speak?" And
right,
he was
right.
like 15 miles away, and he hit that detonator, and that was dope. And then that fight on that crane,
Yeah,
he got some hellacious.
He
got some hellacious scenes now.
Yeah, he does, man. Like Daniel Craig be getting injured. Like he's not like Tom Cruise level. Nobody does it like Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise does the best stunts out of everybody in Hollywood. Nobody's topping that. Tom Cruise is crazy. But like Daniel Craig though, specifically for his Bond movies, this dude be getting snapped up. Like if I were on that crew, I'd say, Daniel, I wrote this Bond scene, but please understand that if you feel that you cannot do this, I don't want you to die. I can always write something else that can be similar in terms of flashiness, but there's a high probability that you will not die in the process. So that's why I'm saying, like, that's why I was mentioning the facts about what he's been able to do in the face of people that, you know, had you said the blonde hair and stuff, he don't really look like him. I'm like, that's not wrong. That's true. But that's even more of a reason as to why, you know, he had to do things in the way that he did. And like, just from Skyfall itself, from the opening to the villain to the song, like I was like, yo, I just in my head I had a flash of every single Bond movie that came before it, and I just confidently said there's not a single James Bond movie that's better than Skyfall. None of them. And that was at the beginning of the movie. That was the first 10 minutes. I'm like, if this goes to shit, I will retract that opinion, but I didn't change it. In fact, when the movie ended, I solidified it.
I hear what you're saying. But it's a
But yeah,
double-edged sword, bro. You're not gonna catch everybody. You're not gonna change everybody's mind. And I'm just saying, I'm not totally against him as James Bond. I'm just saying.
but aren't you happy for him though that he's been able to
I'm
to
ecstatic.
be like?
I
I mean,
mean,
that's just whew, man. For to go from to
if
people
he is
doubting you to $1
successful
billion.
making the James Bond movies money, kudos to him. But is he getting Danny Graham's money? Mm-mm.
There we go. Now that brings me to my question. If I were in, okay, let's say I were in Daniel Craig's Bond movie, like, wouldn't you be excited just to see me
Yeah,
in the?
because I know you personally. I don't know shit about Daniel Craig except his name. But if I look there and they say James Bond played by Terrance, oh yeah, I want to see that. I know it probably wouldn't be nothing but killing. They'd be killing the whole movie.
Danny, imagine, like, I didn't think of this until you said that, but imagine, because I was thinking more so I'd be the villain or something, but like, imagine me as James Bond. You know, I got the tuxedo, I'm clean shaven and stuff.
Oh my Lord.
And, you know, I'm like, Bond, James Bond. And then one of the lines is I'm addressing someone as a human. Like, it's just like,
I'm stuck on you in a text. Sorry. On that note, though, I do have to run it. We have to start working on bedtime stuff.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. Say what you got to say.
Yeah. I have to run. Start the bedtime ritual.
Okay.
That kind of stuff, so
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
But Mads, 10 more hours.
Yeah, and believe me, my kid would be more than happy to go with you to, talk with you for 10 hours.
Tell the people where they can, before you go, man, tell the people where they can find you.
Okay. As you guys, most of you probably know, you can find me at Mads Mama Bear, both on Twitter and on YouTube. And this week, I will be hosting the Queen's Council Thursday night, 9:30 Eastern. Okay?
Good deal. I'll be there. You gonna be on there tomorrow? You got your questions? I sent them to you.
Still working on the exact order.
The order? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you again. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Later. Yeah.
What I was saying earlier, I could see you in that scene when that man put that poison in your drink and you playing the card game and you trying to get to your car.
Right.
That motherfucker. Send me the goddamn potion now. That'd be funny.
Right. Now, like, it's just funny, me picturing all that. But, obviously, like, if they cast me for a role, the Terranceisms, they won't be there because I got to, be the character, right? But, it's funny to think about between friends, you know what I mean? Like how if I were that character, but it just happened to be me and I'm doing and saying things that I would do and say.
I could see you as Shonuff.
That's funny that you see. That's funny that you say that because in high school,
I can see you as Shonuff, boy. Oh my God.
That's funny that you say that, Danny. I'll tell you why. Because in high school, I used to wear like the different gis and the kung fu slippers and stuff. I had whole outfits of that. Dragons on the back. Like it. I was basically dressed like Bruce Leroy through a certain period of my high school, right? So and people were calling me that.
Terrance Leroy?
Yeah, people were calling me Leroy or Terrance Leroy, or I would be walking down the hall and they'd be like, Leroy! Danny, like, Danny, I want you to understand, like, how sometimes that was startling. Danny, that was startling, man. Because imagine you just walk into your backpack and stuff, Danny, and then you just hear that yell by multiple people out of nowhere, Danny. I was like, what the hell?
I would die, boy. You would have hate me. I'd have been like, when I say, who's the master? You say, shoot up.
Danny, they were doing that, man. I'm telling you, like I come out of my classroom and they would be saying all the show enough lines and everything, man. Like I they went on for it didn't go on the whole time, but like I'm talking about for at least like 2 months. Like I go somewhere, I go out to the PE field and like now when I say who's the master, like I'm like, come on, like
Yeah, you would hate me, boy. 'Cause, man, that's one of my all-time favorite movies.
oh
But
yeah, man.
I knew that shit about line for line, boy, when they be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Now to
Man,
go now.
you had Vanity in there and shit. Like, yeah, man.
Now, if I had a chance to take over a franchise, I am so disappointed in the last two of these, but the Predator franchise is awesome. I don't know why somebody won't take that and just hit a home run. They ain't hit a home run since Predators, in my opinion. Predators was the last movie that I really enjoyed.
Okay. I will say this. In terms of Predators, I did think it was cool. But unfortunately, like the only Predator movie to like grab the masses would be the first one, and then the second one kind of built an audience over time. But the rest of them have struggled to get people interested right away. Like Predators coming out, and then we like number one in the world, Predator. Like we haven't really had that. You get something like the most recent one, which was awful, and it didn't make money. Nobody went to see that. It ended up being number one, but it still had a tiny opening. You know,
I'm ashamed to say I went and saw it.
Yeah, I saw that piece of crap too, Danny. And it is, and humans need to understand that just because it opens at number one doesn't necessarily means it made a lot of money. It just means that it happened to beat what was there. But it opened to like a really small number. I think it was like less than 20 million or something. And the studio was not happy with that because they spent a lot of money on that. So that movie flopped. It was a failure, you know. So my uncle told me.
They had a good formula, but now they're trying to stray too far off on that formula. I don't understand it.
I don't get it either. Like you
keep them suckers in the jungle or somewhere like that. That's gonna make you money.
Yeah, that's right. Like my uncle told me, the one that ended up passing away like some years ago. He told me that when Predator 1 came out, like there were lines for that movie, like lined around the corner and stuff. Like he had to wait because he went to see it multiple times. Like people were turning up for that Predator movie, Danny, because you know, as you know, back then, you know, we couldn't just get on the phones that we have now and send somebody the link to a trailer and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it had to be that you either saw a commercial on your TV or you were in a theater when it happened to play the trailer, or somebody would have to tell you by word of mouth. So if you ask me, I think word of mouth was even more powerful back then because that's really all you had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that, as you said, you know, they have strayed too far away from the stuff that made the first one as dope as it is. You know, and that's a problem. Like they need to stop that. And because they've blown it so many times. Now you and me, we like Predators, and there is a fair number of others that enjoyed that movie. But unfortunately, that circle is rather limited in comparison to if you talk about so many other movies where so many people have seen it. And that's the problem. If they announce tomorrow, Danny, Predator, blah, 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 comes out a year from now, I will find it hard to believe that somebody's going to tell me, oh, everybody is excited for this. I doubt it.
No,
I mean,
only the true Predator fans. I want to see like how the Predators are born, how they go up from, kind of like how the 300 was. You see how they show how the trials at the young guy. I want that. I want to see the Predator planet and then see them. What is their greatest adversary? I don't think it's aliens anymore.
Danny, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I got a thought. Because you said 300, Danny, and like I'm thinking, you got the let's say the one of the headmaster predators, right? And then he's holding a baby predator over like one of their mountains, and then you just hear the voice, when the predator was born. Like all predators. Like it starts going into that monologue.
Yep.
Like yeah, I could see that. And I could see that being cool too. I would not be against that. I'm like, man, this predator gonna be bad boy.
I tell you, Predator, man, I just thought that was such an awesome concept when it came out, and they continuously dropped the ball. I wasn't disappointed in Predator 2 at all. I think Danny Glover, I think it's more of a cult following than the first one.
Yes, yeah, because the first one, it was very popular. The second one has a cult following because when
that sucker, there's no stopping what can't be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, but like if you think about it though, look at the makings of everything that made the first one great. You're talking about you have a cast of epic actors. You got Jesse the Body Ventura at the time. He was like a big deal in WWF. You are talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime. You were talking about Bill Duke, I think his name, Carl Weathers with Apollo Creed. Like you have the makings of like a crew of badass people. So you got that. And then the trailer itself, it told the audience like, okay, you got these commandos. They're doing a mission out in the jungle, but they come across something that's unrecognizable, that's clearly not human. And never once in the trailer did you see what it was that they were fighting.
Nope.
You had no idea. It was like, what are they fighting?
That damn infrared vision, man, that shit was that's when that first came out, man. That shit was hot, boy. And then that little growling sound.
Yeah, like that noise was dope. And
you know who did that? The guy that plays Optimus Prime.
Say it again there.
The guy that voices Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
He does all the Predator voices.
Oh, nice.
All the Predator sounds and stuff.
Oh, okay.
His name.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. That makes that makes a lot of sense for the talent.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and then it was like, because my uncle, he told me, because he was, he had his friends and stuff back then and stuff, and they would, talk about stuff like how you and I are doing right now, and he was like, man, you think it's some kind of evolved animal? Do you think it's from space? Like they were trying to think about what it was. So that alone drove them to the theaters. Like, man, I can't wait to see what this thing looks like, because it's got to be beast if it's going to take out all of those commandos, especially with Arnold on the team. Like, what's going to do that to all of them,
And the first time I saw that laser weapon thing, man, that's hard to beat. Because that sucker, the aliens could kind of handle the predators when they ain't got that weapon. But when them damn predators put them cannons on their shoulder,
yeah, the cannon.
That's like Thanos normal, and then you give him two damn infinity guns. You know he about to fuck shit up. The damn predator is Thanos, and when they get that damn thing on their shoulder, they got damn infinity guns. It's a whole different ball game. You might as well go ahead and kiss your ass goodbye.
But you know what though, like even without that cannon though, we saw that they can fight really well and they're really strong. And we saw that with the whole staff. They got that extended staff. It could be like a Cali stick and it just turns into this giant staff. Then they got that frisbee disc where they throw it and then it extends and it just can chop off people's limbs and heads. Then it comes right back to the person that threw it. Right. So you got that. So in AVP, we saw that head predator, better than the other two for some reason. They were doing the dumbest shit to be killed by aliens, which is their basic hunting creatures. But like the leader, he was able to use that disc without even looking. He didn't even need to use his cannon. He was able to use his staff to jump. Do you remember how high that predator jumped just to stab the queen alien? How high he had to jump, Danny?
Mm-hmm.
Like that shit was ridiculous. I'm like, look at how hot. Like he jumped up and he was like, here, take this shot right to your head. And I was like, yo, that is amazing. Cause I was thinking, how you gonna get up there without the queen like using the tail or something to whack you or something? But
Did you
man,
see
that
the?
predator.
Did you see the alien? Like when these, I think it was like 5 or 6 people. They went to this planet, but like the alien got into them by water or something.
Oh, you talking about you talking about Prometheus or you talking about
I'm talking about alien.
Alien Covenant?
Alien, yeah. I
Yeah,
think
because
I didn't understand that one. I
yeah,
did not
that was the last one.
because usually they go into that egg chamber and that shit be pulsating, looking. See right then, time as I see something like that, I'm doing an about face. I ain't trying to look and be like, oh man, what is this? I'm shooting them suckers up. Every damn grenade I got on my belt, I'm tossing in there. Flamethrower, whatever it is, and I'm getting the hell out of there because
Right, right,
they can't shoot them damn crab things. Once them shits
right.
jump on your face, you know you're done. They laying eggs, then that shit grow on your chest. I don't know how long it look like a couple of hours or something. Shit.
Yeah,
Next thing
I
you know, you got a damn open heart surgery and you damn fucked up.
I'm thinking because I'm thinking back to Alien Covenant. I think that movie was it showcased something that was like a little bit different from people that have been following the Alien films. Like, oh, this is another factor in their method of
It was something to do
how
with
they
it was
create
something to do with
aliens and how they
water or
kill them.
something. I
Yeah,
can't remember it. It was something crazy.
yeah, it was definitely something in the water. And like I remember, I was with a couple of friends when we were watching it, and we were just like, "Wait, what is that?" It like if I remember correctly, it was something new. Like I hadn't seen that before. So I was I was mostly fascinated by that. The movie itself, I thought was, it's whatever.
Yeah,
I liked it.
it
I
wasn't.
liked it better than Prometheus because I didn't care for Prometheus. I thought Prometheus, like as a movie,
I think it was
was
overhyped.
yeah, it was like I thought as a movie, like it was good, but I didn't think it was like a good alien based movie. You know what I
I didn't
mean?
either. I didn't either.
Yeah. So
I like that one with it's not an alien movie, but he was stuck on Mars for like a year or so. Matt
mhm.
Damon, The Martian, I think what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, The Martian. Yeah, yeah.
Man, that show, man, he damn used his mind to get his ass out of a sling, buddy, because coming
Yep.
up with how to eat them potato, make the potatoes and all that other stuff he was making,
Oh yeah, man.
to do
I
that
was
math and stuff. So I love that movie.
yeah, that shit was pretty crazy. Yeah, that's a situation where I'm like, man, if I were in that situation, Danny, I'd be dead because there's no way
Yeah,
that I'd be
I'm
able to
not.
do the
I
math
know.
and science involved with that shit. I'd be dead.
Yeah, I'd be dead as hell too. Uh, I'm trying to see what other topics. Anything else happened this week?
Oh, if we can go back to Black Lightning just for a moment.
Okay, no problem.
Uh, now I wanted to say Lala. Like I really like how they've been doing his character.
Yeah,
Just his like his development through the whole thing, like from season 1 to 3. I like how they've been doing that because his character is always calculating and he's always focused. And I really like that about him because I'm like, this is a dude I could see in a powerful position. He just has to get the right pieces in order and then he will be fine. And as we see, he's running his own crew. He's there and he's been putting moves on Lady Eve. He's been making Lady Eve uncomfortable, unsure of herself.
yeah.
So
I
Lala
think
has been coming up.
did she take that spell or keyword off of him? Because
Um,
I was trying to
hmm.
see when I guess he kidnapped her lover or was it her daughter? I'm not sure which one it was.
I think
She didn't use it to try to incapacitate him.
I think I think it's just someone that she's very fond of. I didn't get the impression that it was like her daughter or anything. Like I mean that might be the case, but I didn't hear her say that, so
I
I
didn't.
don't
I
I don't
didn't
think
either.
so.
I'm saying
Yeah,
I didn't
so
get a clear understanding what was the ties.
I
But
think it was I think it's because she's like it's kind of like how Lady Eve how she like how she has the twins.
Yeah.
and she like she said she don't like to go nowhere without her twins. Like I don't think that that particular female is like on the level of the twins per se, but in terms of running conducting business while Lady Eve is doing the more important business in the back, I think she depends on her for that specifically, and there's a trust that's there. So in the event that everyone is killed, she would prefer that she doesn't die, that the
I got
twins doesn't die, if that makes sense.
I got you.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, how do you feel about Lala's development?
Yeah,
Because
I like
man,
Lala. When he first come, I first saw him, like, man, he little sniveling punk. I was glad when Black Lightning whipped his ass. But when they brought him back, and each time he comes back, he gets that tattoo of a lost soul. And I like how they had him talking to the people, but now he's kind of stopped. So I'm guessing he's getting a grasp on it, or maybe that part of his punishment is stopped. I'm digging
right?
that. Lala, it's kind of like I won't say he's not the fuel in the tank, but he's an important component to the overall wheel that is Black Lightning.
That's right, because
I
he
think,
is connected to everybody.
yeah, I think if they take him out, it'll be a little disjointed. But when they insert him in, it makes the show run smoother, more
Right.
interesting. And
Now,
because now I'm
see,
kind of missing Tobias. Tobias ain't been in the last 2 episodes, so I'm
you,
kind of
you,
wondering what the hell is he doing?
um,
Because
it,
Tobias is definitely the nitro in the, in
um,
the in the fuel tank.
well, I'll say this: like, there was, I saw the final trailer for tomorrow's episode.
They're gonna be
That
in they're gonna be in court or something tomorrow, ain't they?
Yeah, like I saw in the because I saw two different trailers, and they're definitely in different settings. One looks like the ASA compound, and then we see Black Lightning fighting Gravedigger, where we saw them leave off on the last episode, but then they went to a different setting. And then I don't know where Tobias is in the context of that clip, but he has somebody tied up, and it looked like he might have been in somebody's house, but something along the lines of like, okay, now I got to do something. And it seemed like he was monitoring the whole situation. So from that, me not knowing what the hell I'm talking about, really, it just seemed like he's biding his time to make a specific move.
Yeah.
So there you go, because you just mentioned Tobias. So I'm like, he's been there since season one. So I don't, unless they kill him, it seems like he'll always pop up at some point or another.
They
But his character
they
serves a
can't kill
purpose.
Tobias. I don't know if anyone can fill that void.
Okay,
Him
well,
him and Agent Odell, they kind of like I don't like them, but the necessary to keep you guessing or keep the freshness of the show, because without certain bad guys, the show's going to grow stale.
well, here's the thing though. Like before, like because before it was like, okay, Tobias, and then Lala, and then Lady Eve, and she got taken out until she came back. Lala is better than ever. But then you introduce the Markovians, which is the entire season of season 3. You have the Markovians, and then you have the first metahuman that is Gravedigger. That already is a way that they're stepping away from the characters that we already know, because you have to do that. So they're going to continue to give us storylines and characters to where it's not so much for the purpose of uh, filling the void of Tobias or any particular character, but to show you that they have other stories to tell. And so may or may not pop up if they're dead, but it would have to be for a specific reason. Like how we got Tobias in the background, and it hasn't been about him. Not really. I mean, he's only important to the degree that he was there in the Markovia and stuff like that, and he was at the ASA laboratory, and they were doing experiments on him and shit. But primarily, the focus has been Markovia, the Markovian threat. The war is coming, and then now we know they got metahumans. They got Gravedigger, and the whole Freeland's gonna be nuked if they don't defeat Gravedigger and all that crap. Like that's serious. It's so much to think about to where, Tobias and them, you would think about them after. Okay, where is Tobias? How come we haven't seen him? You kind of think about them after, but that's a good thing because that makes you understand that what they've given you this season is something that you enjoy and you appreciate, and you're not going like, oh man, this is whack. When Tobias gonna come back? You if you do that, then that means that they have failed in introducing something new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
another important thing that I think they're missing out too. I don't know. I don't understand why they're not doing it. Well, I kind of sort of do, but I kind of sort of don't. Is now that Crisis is over and Black Lightning is now officially a part of the JL, and freeing his home instead of putting his daughters at risk. One he has total faith in, one he's kind of fearful of, even though she's powerful, but she's hard headed. Why doesn't he call on Axe to Flash for help? Any of the people or the connections that he made.
right, like their version of the Super Friends of the Justice League. They're not going to call it the Justice League because they usually say that for the movies, but that's essentially more or less what it is. I mean, you could go either way, Justice League, Super Friends, doesn't matter. But the reason why that doesn't happen is because when it comes to these character shows, right, like Black Lightning, Flash, and so on, right, the way that they go about telling the stories, which is essentially the same way in the comic books too, is that you have to tell stories that elevate these characters. If you have other characters come in and intervene, then the audience will start to believe that when shit hits the fan, so to speak, that this character won't be able to deal with it on his own.
I
And you want
I,
to
I
like
agree that I agree that to a certain extent, but I've seen some episodes of Green Arrow, Flash, and Supergirl where it's not a complete crossover. It's just okay. I'm popping over because shit's getting thick. I need some help. I've seen Flash help out Supergirl. I've seen Green Arrow help out Flash, vice versa, and not
this
be
is
a and
true.
not be a whole crisis or crossover. It's just a team up, so to speak.
This is true, but it's like because Black Lightning started away from them,
Mhm.
it's already been established that his character can deal with so much on his own. So from a writing standpoint, I would only ever really bring in someone else if it's beyond what I believe that he can handle, like him and his family and whatever metahumans are in Freeland. Now, somebody might say, well, don't you think that the Gravedigger and the Markovia situation calls for that? And that's a yes and no kind of thing. Like I would have to see how it plays out, but I have yet to feel that Black Lightning and his people can't handle this. Like I haven't gotten to that point yet. You know what I mean? Like, because at least with like the examples
I'm
that you
damn.
gave,
Go ahead.
no, I was saying like at least with the examples that you gave, I saw that like no, Green Arrow he gonna need the Flash's help or Flash, Supergirl, vice versa. Those situations, I'm like, yeah, you gonna need them. There's no way around this. Like you're gonna die or you don't know how to solve this equation. This is not your area of expertise. But Jefferson, like, I feel like throughout the course of his show, he's been having different challenges and he's always been able to get to a position to where he's okay. He has more experience. His daughters have more experience. You got Gamby. Now you got other
Yeah.
metahumans. He has a
But
whole
I think
team now.
I agree. I agree with everything you're saying, but I think Gravedigger, if Gravedigger just had his super speed and stuff and just his power to push, and I think they could have built probably some kind of inhibitor or something. And I think Jefferson and his daughter mind works on different frequencies. So that power couldn't work. And he just had the speed and the super strength and stuff. And pretty much martial arts, Jefferson can kind of hold his own, I think. But this cat, he got 6 or 7 different powers now. So I don't know if Black Lightning power by himself is going to be able to do it because you saw he was able to use that shield thing to block Jennifer. So Black
The
Lightning,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. No, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how the story is going to. I'm very curious to see tomorrow how it's going to turn out. I don't see how he's going to be able to beat Gravedigger 1-on-1 with just physical power, strength, skills. I don't see that. Maybe he be
Okay.
able to talk to him or say that thing about well, you're my great uncle or something, and that may kind of give him pause and he's able to do something. But
Okay, now with that said, you probably should not watch the final trailer because I have more like I can say I have a better understanding of how it might play out because that final trailer does show more than that initial trailer. But I mean, I just like to see as much as I can see. But with the way that trailer ended, I have a couple of scenarios of how certain things would work, and I could be completely wrong because they're all out of context. But before I saw that trailer, I was thinking how you are, but after having seen it, it's a little bit different now because with in terms of like Black Lightning, say like Flash or somebody else shows up, I'm thinking that it would have to be for a situation where either Gravedigger is just too much and he didn't put them all in the hospital, all kinds of crazy stuff, or maybe there's that one teleporting metahuman and there's like four other ones and Gravedigger has a whole special ops team or something. Because then it's just like, yo, man, you're going to need at least one of those other characters to help you. And at this point, it doesn't matter which one. You got to at least have one of them plus your daughters and whatever other metahumans that you can assemble. Like, so that's why I'm kind of saying, like, I think it's really important to see how this plays out because it could very well be that maybe Gravedigger, he doesn't die. It could be that he escapes or he actually beats the team and he doesn't see any point in staying in Freeland. But then again, if that happens, then Freeland gets nuked. So we know that that's not going to happen. So it's either going to be that he gets killed or Black Lightning can somehow convince him to come over to his side, but there's only a couple of ways that can go because Freeland can't get nuked. That would kill everybody there, and you don't essentially operate with those type of endings. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't do something that will kill off Black Lightning and his whole family. You get what I'm saying? Like Gambi can get killed because Gambi did get snapped up in the comics at one point, but you can't do something to where it's going to kill all those innocent people and Black Lightning because without Black Lightning, you have no Black Lightning show, if that makes any sense what I'm saying.
Makes complete sense.
So, I think that the points that you made, they were exactly right. And I feel like it does depend, but I mean, I can't predict everything. I'm not perfect. I don't know the writers. I don't know what their intentions are, but I'm really thinking that it can only go so many ways. And then once it goes a specific way, then the big question will go, okay, what happens after that? Because no matter how they defeat Gravedigger, which I believe they will, and if they don't, and it goes over into the next season, then I'll be like, oh, you know what, Danny? Remember how we were talking about the crossover where they might have to team up to stop the Markovians?
Mm-hmm.
At that point, Danny, I feel like that is extremely likely if the Markovian shit is not dealt with by the end, at least to the degree that Gravedigger is no longer a problem.
I agree with you. I agree with you 1,000% on that, bro. Gravedigger is a serious issue. Like I said, I am ready for tomorrow's night episode. I will not miss it. So I want to see how they're going to get at that. I'm also want to see. I'm not feeling this mirror world on the Flash too much.
Okay, please go into that because I was going to ask you to go into that because you haven't seen it. So,
I'm not really a fan of Flash's bad guys besides Reverse Flash, Zoom, and Grodd. The rest of them I think are cheesy as shit. Captain Boomerang to me is the cheesiest. And there was one, the prankster, that was stupid as hell.
Wait, you don't like Captain Cold?
Hell no. No.
Damn, what? But
it's about Snart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like
he brings a little bit of energy to his acting style. It's kind of monotone, that dry humor.
Right.
He's okay. Like, I'll give him that.
Okay, but, man. I was like, dang, like you don't
I'm
like.
talking about the cartoon. the live action villains are cooler than the cartoon villains. When I see the cartoon villains in print, like I said, other than the Reverse Flash, I think he is by far my favorite villain.
Yeah,
Um, I
yeah,
like
I can see that. Yeah.
I like Zoom when Zoom was there. I like the black costume. I thought that was awesome. I didn't too
You
much
know.
care, but go ahead.
Wait. You didn't care about what?
I didn't too much care about what was it, Savitar when it was Barry in that suit.
I like that. You didn't like Savitar?
Uh, no.
What?
Well, I was kind of disappointed when I found out who it was. I'll put it that way.
Oh, okay. So would it be fair to say that you were on board with the first half of the season, but not so much the second
Yeah,
half?
when I found out it was Barry, I was like, I didn't like Barry being evil. I just Grant Gustin makes me believe I have to really when I'm watching that show, I gotta really think, look, this shit ain't real. This shit ain't real now. But Grant Gustin convinces me I believe that fool is really Barry Allen in the Flash because he has bought into that character so much that I can feel his pain when he's frowning, when he's upset, when he's frustrated. I'm like in that roller coaster with him. He's the only actor I can really say on TV that pulls me in like he does. Because for that 1 hour I'm watching, I'm thinking I'm really watching someone who can do all that shit. I know when I watch, I don't even have
But
that same feeling with Black Lightning, and I'm a Black Lightning fan. But I know that sucker in
damn,
that suit, and he to me, man, Grant Gustin was just totally born for that part, and he got me convinced. That's why when the people talking Elza Miller, I'm like, no, 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 no. I do not
I
want
like
Elza
him,
Miller.
but I like him, but not as much as Grant Gustin. Just
No,
wanted to say that now. But I think Stephen Amell though is a perfect Oliver Queen. Like the
yeah,
way that you said that Grant does with Flash, I believe Stephen Amell is now synonymous with that name. When you mention Green Arrow, like you have to think about Stephen Amell.
I
Like
agree.
it just comes up. Like, but
But I did like Smallville Green Lantern.
I see we are on the same wavelength, Danny. Thank you. I was just about to go. Well, Justin Hartley was dope too on Smallville, so that was the
Yeah,
same thing.
yeah. And I think he was the first Aquaman on Smallville, but I didn't really care for. Well,
No, no, no. Or well,
he was Aquaman on some show.
well. Here's the thing with that. Like he was going to be Aquaman, and they did a pilot that never aired on TV,
Yeah,
but they
yeah,
put it on. I want to say
like
season
YouTube or
four or
something.
five, season
Yeah,
4 or 5 of the special features when you would buy Smallville,
yeah.
because in season 6 he was introduced as a Green Arrow, and he was a mainstay from season 6 all the way through season 10.
Yeah.
So I
I knew somewhere in there he's supposed to be green. I mean, Aquaman. I just couldn't remember the
now
exact.
the man, like I don't know, because I saw the pilot. Did you ever see that pilot?
I thought I
Uh,
did.
okay, like because remember Ving Rhames was the teacher and shit. Like he was the one showing him the ropes about the sea and stuff. Pretty much like how Willem Dafoe is Volko in the
Yeah,
Aquaman movie. Like he was like kind of like that kind of character.
I got you. I
So
don't, I don't know if I saw that or not. Now I don't remember Van Rings being a part of that.
yeah, yeah. So like, I mean, it should be on YouTube. But I could be
Yeah,
wrong on
I'll
that
check it
whole
out.
thing.
Just
But
like
it,
man, some shows CW just hit home runs because like Smallville, man, I was with Tom Welling from episode
man, ooh,
one to the last episode. I was like, man, I want to see him in the suit this one time, and
see,
that CGI shit didn't do it justice at the
well,
end.
no, because they had a rule, it was like no tights, no flights.
Yeah,
However, there were some episodes where we saw Tom Welling flying, but it was usually because he was under the influence
for
of
the
a
red kryptonite.
specific kryptonite or something like that. But
The one when they did the Bizarro episode, I thought that was pretty cool.
mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't see it like you do, but the cartoons say Mixoplex. So when he does
Right.
Mixoplex, I love Mixoplex is one of my favorite DC villains. I don't
And
know
I
why he always
that
stuck
that
with me, but he always stuck with me.
like it's kind of like it's like on Super or Smallville how they say Kara, and then on Supergirl they say Kara.
Uh
That's how
huh.
I feel about the whole the way that you just said it, I'm like, no, because like when I hear it, it's like Mr. Mitzik Pitalik, and when I hear it any other way, I'm just like, I guess, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like when I hear like when I hear it, I'm supposed to be hearing Ra's al Ghul, not Ra's al Ghul. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like so, it's like technically
I
they're
guess
both right, but
it's
you know,
basically tomato, however
right,
you
right,
like to pronounce it. 'Cause
right,
I
right.
remember on the Super Friends on Saturday, they used to say Mixoplex. I remember that.
Yeah,
It's
that's
short.
true. That's facts.
But then I did hear that Mixopilin, like you say. I kind of like that, but I just can't. Sometimes my memory just can't.
No,
I'm
no,
so
I got you. It is harder to say. I mean, just tell most people like you give them a line and you got to say that character's name. Like, how
yeah.
dare you, Mitzik Pitalik? Like they're gonna mess it up a few times before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
fuck it up. But Flash,
Um,
Flash used to be my favorite CW superhero, but Black Lightning has take that over. I'm telling you, boy, that scene when Thunder was in shorts in the bed with old girl, I was like, yes,
yeah, I'd be like,
perfection.
man, they did that on episode 1 when she was in the bed with that other black girl. I was like, yo,
Yeah.
the skin on these women is just.
Ridiculous.
I'm like, this don't make no sense, Dan. Like,
None, zero.
I had to rewind it a couple times because I was missing
Mm,
the dialogue because I was
yeah,
focused on everything else. But
yep. I know what you mean on that, bro. Yeah,
but
Thunder got it going on.
man, Thunder, the way that scene when she tell me like you know how I am about dialogue. You will hear me mention character and storytelling so many times because as like because I used to be a writer. I used to write some things, so I feel like that's important to make or break your content. Like what kind of dialogue that you got, and that scene when Thunder was talking to Lala, Danny, that shit was fire. That they're back and forth. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh boy. Like to me, like when I hear stuff like that, to me
Yeah.
that gets me just as excited as like the best fight scene because the words are so heated. Like I was like, yo, holy crap, dude! Like what Lala was saying, and Thunder had her come back, and then Lala was like, "Hey man, you gonna get got? Say something else, metahuman." Like, yo, like, man, that was awesome, Danny.
That part, Lala said, yeah, y'all gotta take that to go. Yep.
that was some hard shit, Danny. Like when he said, "Man, that's a pretty good hustle," but y'all got to take that shit to go. Like I
Uh-huh.
started clapping loud as hell,
Yep.
Danny. I'm like, Lala is hard, boy.
The boy said, so it's like that? He's like, yeah, it's like that. Damn, Lala.
And then his henchman came in and he had those meta guns ready. Like, yeah, y'all ain't gonna come up in here with this. Like,
But I don't care how bad Lala, oh boy. When Thunder and Black Lightning work together, them two hell, boy.
oh yeah, absolutely. I
Hell.
firmly believe that if Thunder and Black Lightning wanted to do something to Lala and his henchmen, it would happen. However, I would like to think that if they do it too many times, that Lala would have a contingency to make it more likely that he doesn't die. So at least he can escape. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, one thing about Lala, he learns from his mistakes and he adjusts accordingly.
Facts.
Well,
Just like
I'm trying to figure out what is, other than information, what is so important about that damn briefcase?
Okay, well let me think on that. Because with the briefcase you have all the
See,
information of the metahumans.
I thought the briefcase had some kind of metahuman formula or something in it, but it seemed like it's just kind of like get a bunch of knowledge because that's how Gamby was able to figure out about Gravedigger being the first
That's right.
metahuman. But then I don't know how they jumped from her testing. What made her test Gravedigger's blood? I never. And then compared it to Black Lightning.
I think that briefcase, like, not only does it have the information on all the metas, but I think it also has formulas and answers.
And samples.
Right. I believe it has I believe it has certain formulas for you to make stuff. It has answers.
Why in the hell would Jill Scott character give it to Gamby though? Because Gamby wasn't on her trail that hard and heavy that she felt threatened he's gonna kill her. I don't think.
Well, no, but I think that will come down to, like, if you notice about Gamby, like he seems to either know everybody, or he's heard of them, or he knows someone that knows the person that he wants to, get information off of or whatever. So I think it came down to probably just people just trust Gamby. There's a respect there. You know what I mean? So that's what I chalked it up to. Like, Gamby will do with this what needs to be done, as to where everybody else, they seem to be agenda focused, and it's usually on some selfish shit. And Gamby, he not gonna do it like that. So that's what I think of. Like, what you think?
That might be. I can see that being a plausible reason why she did it. Some kind of peace offering gesture to make sure Gamby doesn't come after her, because I think she has a healthy fear and respect to Gamby. That if he get,
Mm-hmm.
because she found out that she put that hit on Gamby, so she
Right,
didn't want Gamby on her tail, because she know that Gamby is very resourceful. So that makes sense.
right. And I wouldn't want Gamby on my tail. I'll tell you that. Hell
Yeah,
no.
he's like a damn roach boy. He gonna survive.
Yeah, man. It's not only that too, man. But like, this dude, he can fight. He can use weapons. Like, he is far from defenseless. This dude is skilled as hell. Like, he could beat your
Mm-hmm.
ass. He could take your gun from you, shoot you with it. Like, I haven't seen him in a situation where, I mean, there was that one time when they like shot his car. I was like, oh no, Gamby. Like, I didn't want him to die, but like, other than that
Mm-hmm.
though, I always thought, okay, Gamby, he gonna be fine. He's gonna get out of that or something,
Yeah,
So
I was glad when him and Black Lightning got back on the same page. I didn't like it when Black Lightning was mad at him and shit. Even though what he did was jacked up, but I think
yeah,
Black Lightning is better when he can depend on Gamby.
you're right. But I think like, while you didn't like it, I liked it only in a sense of, stuff like that can only make the character stronger, because
Yeah,
you are only tested when you're in bad positions. You can't be tested if everything is perfect. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah. I know,
then
but it's kind of like Alfred betraying Batman. I could never see that happening.
no, but remember in the Christopher Nolan movies how you had that situation with Alfred, how he didn't want to give him the letter and stuff. It would have to be
Yeah,
something like that, and then
yeah,
eventually it would be fine, because Gamby, Alfred, any number of characters that are working with or for a superhero, they only ever do something to protect, that person, not
exactly.
to intentionally hurt them.
Yeah. You're right.
But
You're right.
before I forget, the hell am I thinking? The Aquaman show with Justin Hartley, the one that was just one episode.
Mm-hmm.
While I liked it, when it was over, and I remember I went on the Smallville forum, because I had a whole forum, and I go on that thing, Danny, and I wasn't doing my schoolwork because I wanted to know what was happening
Mm-hmm.
on Smallville that week, and they said Justin Hartley did not get to live up to be Aquaman because it didn't even air it, but we decided to cast him as Oliver Queen / Green Arrow. And at that point, Danny, when they showed him and they had him in a couple different costumes, I'm like, that's it. That's it right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, and I didn't feel that when I was watching Aquaman. I liked it. And trust me, if they would have went on a gazillion seasons, I would have enjoyed it, because I did like it, but I didn't get that, what I tell you, that right feeling, like, now that's it. That's who should be the character, like I've been saying a lot of times. When
Mm-hmm.
they said he was going to be Oliver Queen / Green Arrow, that was an instant. There it is. That is exactly who he's supposed to be. And sure enough, when I saw him as Oliver Queen, man, it was just like, that's it. He got the charm, he got the looks. It was on point, Danny. It was
Yep.
on point.
Sometimes stuff is just meant to be, bro. Sometimes it's meant to be. You find that right niche, and things just fall into place.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And he's part of legacy, because Smallville is a very big deal TV show. It's one of the few that live action shows that have lasted 10 years. Most of them nowadays, they don't even get the 5 seasons, shit, let alone some 10. And, and then it's a comic book show. Is at the time when that wasn't a thing. Like Smallville was the only one. You didn't have a trillion different comic book shows on 50 different platforms, and you gotta, say I'm not gonna pay for this one so I can pay for this one just to watch these three shows. You didn't have that. You had Smallville. That's what you
You're right.
had.
You're right.
So that had to really pull in the masses, people that don't read comic books to allow that thing to go for 10 years. A comic book
Very,
show.
very impressive.
Mm-hmm. Shoot.
They had the
People
right.
need to-
They had the right Clark Kent, the right Jonathan Kent, definitely the right Lex Luthor, the best Lex Luthor of all time.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you
Hands
can't
down.
go wrong. You can't go wrong with that.
And you know what? You know what's interesting about Smallville? While it had fight scenes and stuff, that show was purely character driven. It was
Mm-hmm.
very dialogue heavy. It was very deep in the storytelling, and any sort of powers or fight scenes was merely just extra. But that was
Yep.
never the focus. Like the current, like the Arrowverse, they're very big on action. Not to say the storytelling's bad, but they very much make sure that you got the fight scenes, you got the special effects. They try to do the best that they can.
Yeah.
As where
I
Smallville
think
was like,
they gotta keep that to keep a certain fan base.
true, very true.
Um,
Yeah, that's true. But
'cause-
I like the fact that with Miles Millar and Alfred Goff, the creators of Smallville, they're like, we are going to make a great character show, and you
Yeah,
are
they
going
did.
to love these characters
And then they
before
did-
anything else.
Well, they didn't force feed it. Each season, he kind of developed a new power. I know first
Right.
season, we know he was strong and he could run fast. But then I think one season, he learned how to use his X-ray vision. That was kind of jacked up. then the super hearing one season. Then it was
Come
it
on,
was
Daddy,
something
man.
else.
How many of us like that scene? I think it might have been the beginning of season 2, if I'm not mistaken. But
Mhm.
like when he was having them headaches, when he fell
Yep.
off the rope, and then he looked in the girls' locker room and he saw Lana, and then he just had the biggest smile on his face. I'm like, it makes sense. Anybody see Lana, they're gonna smile.
That's
So I'm
right.
like, and then he had sex ed, and he, for some reason, Danny, it didn't make no sense. Like, this don't really work this way in real life, but it's television. Like, he had the hottest teacher in the world. Just like, what is like?
Mhm.
and she had on that small dress, and the boobs were hanging out. I'm like, Danny, you'd be hard pressed to find a teacher on Halloween that looks like that, let alone just casually.
You're right.
I'm just saying. And when he got the whole heat vision, and it was like a play on, sexual development of boys. Like, I thought that was genius. I'm like, that's dope. I like that. Now that's that creativity I'm talking about, to where, you remember how I said I'm not a purist. It doesn't necessarily have to be exact. I can be open to things if it's done well.
Yep.
Smallville would be one of the best examples I can use, to where they inserted a whole lot of creativity every season.
I definitely agree with that, bro. I didn't miss episode. In fact, I'm thinking about going back and watch it again here. I get chance.
Now, how do you feel about now? Because the actress that played Chloe Sullivan, the stuff that's been happening with her.
Chloe was one of my favorites. One of my favorite. I wish that she wasn't in that mess she's in now, and she could have made an appearance on Crisis. That would have been awesome.
Now, and here's the thing too that's messed up about that. Number one, I'm not really sure that I believe that all the way, but I can't really argue against it. It's one of those things where I don't know, but it looks very bad. So that's kind of the position I'm in. So I'm like, hey, I still like her because she played Chloe, but if she did that and it's all the way true, then that's bad. But I'm just being honest about that. All right. So, but I think that, like I was saying, the messed up part is Smallville, if you've noticed, is not on syndication of any channel, and it's because of her. Because she's such a pivotal character throughout the majority of the show, that with all that stuff surrounding her, if you put that on there, nowadays
it's going to dredge up stuff.
Yeah,
same thing with Cosby Show. I heard on an interview, Malcolm Jamal Warner was pissed, which he has a right to be. He said, "Look, I'm getting punished for another castmate's mistakes. We signed contracts to be syndicated, and look at all the money we missing because no TV series I'm aware of shows Cosby Show anymore.
That's right. That is a complete, relevant, and perfect thing that you just said there. That is definitely another huge example of that
Yeah,
because it's like, look,
I don't see
with
how a mortal unless they have this in because in my profession we have something called moral turpitude. So unless there's a moral turpitude clause in the contract, I don't see how if one castmate does something stupid, how the rest of them could. But in that particular case, Bill Cosby is such a pivotal part on the show, and he's just about on every episode. They can't make the
it,
money. And also, when I was talking earlier today, the same thing but Dukes of Hazards because people are offended by that rebel flag on the General Lee. So it's
right,
not
right,
being shown. So there's
yeah,
several things out there. And that's not
that's
even a person, man.
craziness.
That's just a car.
That
So you mean to
that's
tell
true.
me? So you mean to tell me that when they're showing that, if it's such a big thing, they couldn't blur that?
You know, honestly, Danny, I wouldn't want them to. I'm like, you either show it or you don't. Like, I'm very much against the cancel culture because there's no way that, like, number one, uh the Cosby Show, like, everybody knows what that is. Like, so
Mhm.
not showing it, the people still know, and other people will tell them and even tell them why they should stay away from it because of Bill Cosby. So it's going to come up at some point, or they're going to find it on their own because it's the Cosby Show. In the case of Smallville, it's not on the DC streaming service. It doesn't come on any channel, and people don't mention it unless you go to like Smallville panels. They still have Smallville panels at Comic-Con and different places. That's awesome. Now, obviously, Allison Mack, the actress that played Chloe Sullivan, obviously she's never there. You know what I mean? But you still have Tom Welling and Kristen Cruick that play Lana and Michael Rosenbaum that play Lex and other cast members. They will often be there, right? So it's alive in that sense. But Smallville today could be even bigger if Allison Mack, whatever she supposedly didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it'd be everywhere. People are, oh,
Well,
Smallville.
at least it's not too dead that they didn't think about it on Crisis. They brought back
That's
Tom and the lady that played Lois.
yeah, right.
And I think
Wow.
that if they could have gotten Michael Rosenbaum scheduled to work, I think he would have made an appearance too.
Oh yeah, they wanted him to be, but he was just like, yo, I'm taking care of the relative, and y'all ain't giving me
Yeah.
nothing. I'm not coming. So that
Yeah.
was Warner Brothers
Yeah.
sloppiness in terms of their approach.
So
But
I think it's hope for Smallville, maybe, because you
you're
could,
right.
but the other two, I ain't seen. I can't remember last time I seen the Dukes of Hazards on TV. I didn't know that they did it because of that reason, but I learned it today on a earlier stream with
What was
Chris.
it? I think I seen it once, but it was like some years ago, and it was like late in the morning when nobody's awake.
Yeah, I can't remember last time I seen it. I told him that I like Bo and Luke, but I didn't like Coy and Vance.
Okay.
And Coy and Vance replaced it Bo and Luke because I think they wanted more money, whatever. And
Okay.
then that also kind of ties into Smallville because John Snyder was Bo Duke on there, and then he played Jonathan Kent on Smallville. So they kind of
That's right. That's right. I never got into to Dukes of Hazard. Like, I've seen it a little bit, but I
yeah.
was never
That's
like
old.
a fan.
You say
Yeah.
you 30 something?
Yeah, 31.
Shit, you
So
probably.
I mean, to my credit though, as you know, I didn't seen so many things tracking back to so many different decades because of my interest.
Yeah.
So like
If I,
I'm very much aware, but like I haven't seen a lot of it, but I've seen
yeah.
enough to know what it is.
Man, I grew up on that when I was a little boy in the 80s.
Got you.
That was Friday night, every Friday night at 8 o'clock. It was
So
Dukes of
you're a
Hazard.
fan of that show?
Yeah, it was Dukes of Hazards, Dallas, and Falcon Crest for years. I remember the lineup. Then one year, I think Dukes had, well, no, they never competed, but I remember little boy on Saturday nights. My grandmother raised me, and she loved to watch Murder She Wrote. But Murder She
Oh
Wrote
yeah.
came on the same time as Knight Rider. And we
Right.
only had one TV back then. So I'm like, what the fuck? So every other week I had to watch Knight Rider. So I was missing pivotal episodes of Knight Rider.
Right.
And then some week she got mad. You watched yours last week, so I'll miss it 2 weeks in a row because she get
Oh
mad or
man.
overruled. So it was like, man, come on. So
Danny,
finally
do you
we were able to get two TVs and multiple TVs. I was like, thank you, Lord, because about
man,
6 months, man, and I was a Knight Rider nut, man. When Knight Rider first came out, oh my god,
what the hell? Danny, do you know what I would do if like you know all the stuff I like to watch? If somebody said you didn't watch Flash or Black Line, whatever it is, you didn't watch it last week, now it's my turn and I gotta miss some shit, Danny. You know how
hey,
irritated I feel.
hey, man, I went to bed mad many a night, but what you gonna do? Because
Yeah, yeah.
back then you try to say something and it be show enough and Bruce Leroy for real. Be getting my ass whipped with the red
Yeah.
fist, black fist, blue fist, whatever color fist.
Yeah,
So,
you're right. We had them black guardians, so you know they
uh,
black parents or grandparents they raise a certain way, man, and we would
uh,
get our asses whooped
man,
if
my
I didn't say
grandma,
it to my
my grandma didn't play, boy.
no my parents either, man. Like if I were to say if they're like we gonna watch this as a little kid, if I were to say something like, man, no, you gonna let me watch my fucking Flash or something, man, I get the shit beat out of me. I get the shit beat out of me,
Shit,
daddy.
man, be like Vegeta, final flash and shit. You wake up in the damn hospital the next
Oh
with
shit.
damn IV or something. Man,
Oh damn, that is hilarious, man. Like
true, that's true story there, buddy.
right, no, I hear you. That's why like I'm knowing Danny, like I didn't got my ass beat so many times when I was a kid, man.
Mm,
I had a mouth on me, Danny. I would you know, I don't hold back. I wasn't doing that as a kid either, man.
uh, no, I got a mouth after I got grown and independent. But shoot, while I was dependent, I kept my mouth shut, buddy.
right, right. Because you know what they say, you live under our roof, our
That's
rules,
right.
and so on and so on. So I'm like
17, I signed to Marine Corps. I was out. Never went back.
yep, you took off. You was like, nope.
I can't take these rules.
Right, right. Damn,
Terrance, my man.
I didn't know
Go
that
ahead.
about the you went to the military to
Yeah.
17.
Yep. Marine Corps. I graduate in May of '88, and shit, August of '89. I was in Marine Corps boot camp,
Oh
Paris
shoot.
Island.
Oh yep.
Yep.
I think you kind of touched upon the military, but I didn't like really know the specifics of it. Like I
Yeah.
guess it never came up really, but
Yeah. Man, I was in Marine Corps. I stayed in there 5 years. I went to Desert Storm. Out of 7 continents, I actually set foot on 5. So
right.
I've never been to South America, and I've never been to Antarctica, but I've been to other ones.
Man, Danny, that's cool because I mean like I was gonna go into the military, like, cause I was gonna go to the Air Force, cause my boy Charles at the time, you know, like really close friend, and he was always over there, and you know, I was mad that I didn't get to see him, so I was gonna join, cause I was so angry, and I wanted to hurt people, Danny, right? So like,
Oh Lord.
I went to the recruiter, and you know, I told him, yeah, my friend's in the Air Force, and you know, I want to get all this training, and then you know, I want to be able to hurt people. Man, that recruiter looked at me, Danny. Danny, I kid you not, like
That big
man,
snap that said denied.
right. He might as well have done that because it was like he had these papers in his hand. He was doing something on the computer, type, and as soon as I said that, he didn't stop typing. Danny he didn't put the papers down on the counter, and he was like, "Are you sure you're at the right place?" And I was like, what do you mean, sir? He was like, well, normally we don't really recommend to other forms of military branches. My job is to get you to join this one, but you seem more like you'd be suited for like the Marines or Navy SEALs or something like that, since you're talking about you want to do all this fighting and stuff. And I was like, oh, that makes sense, but my friend is in this one, so and then he was like, well, even if you go to this one, you won't necessarily be stationed with your friend. And I was like, that's a great point. I didn't think about that. And like what happened was, Danny, I took the test and there was like a section of it I didn't know because I was supposed to study and I didn't. I just thought I could pass it and I didn't pass it, right? But I was
You
supposed
talking
to
about,
go back that second time
you talking about the
and then
ASVAB.
yeah, yeah. Like I was supposed to go like the second time and then I did go, but I talked to the recruiter and I was like, look, man, I'm joining this thing for the wrong reason. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go, I'm gonna get my training, I'm like, see you later, I'm out. But I can't do that. You know what I mean?
Be court martial. Now you talking about Leavenworth?
Right, yeah. So I can't do that. And I told him I was like, this is gonna be a mistake because I'm not the kind of dude where I would want to stay. I would want to get what I
Yeah,
want and be up out of there. I don't want to be under no contracts and
yeah.
none of that kind of stuff.
I'm
So
glad you didn't go. Man, let me tell
right.
you how it is, man. When your recruiter, man, he comes, man. Well, I can only speak from Marine Corps, but man, they treat you, man, take you all the time, places, you do all this kind of stuff. They tell you what you want to hear, all this kind of stuff, and and man, when you go to boot camp, it's crazy, man. Because okay, first of all, they got the United States divided in half.
Okay.
Anything right of the Mississippi or east of the Mississippi goes to Paris Island, South Carolina. There's only two places they train Marines in boot camp.
Okay.
Anything that's west of the Mississippi goes to San Diego.
Okay.
But if you live on that actual imaginary line in those states, then you can choose.
Okay.
So they always get you there at nighttime. It's pitch ass black. You go on a bus, and when you get there, man, drill instructor comes on there, man, and he tells you, man, and he got this voice. It's like, all right, but you stacking recruits, you got about 10 seconds to get off my bus and get on these footsteps. And man, it's like chaos. And man, you get on there, man, and they don't let you sleep the whole night because you filling out paperwork, you doing all kind of stupid shit. They breaking you down and then they yelling at you. You got to make phone calls and do this and that kind of stuff. And then the crazy stuff I remember about it was getting like your equipment. And they make you go on this line and you get like 3 pair of everything. So you go on the line and you get your pants. So they make you
Right.
hold one pants in one right arm, one pant left arm, and a third pair of pants in your mouth. But you got to hold it like that until the whole platoon is back in line. And then sometimes your platoon could be as big as 80 people.
Right.
So when you start holding 2 pound pants, whatever much for damn 15, 20 minutes, that shit feel like lead.
Right.
So man, they do all kind of crazy psychological things to you. They send you to they call it the receiving drill instructor. I guess he's like one of the new drill instructors, and then he's an asshole or just talking all kind of crazy stuff to you. Then you stay with your receiving drill instructor for maybe 2 or 3 days. Then they take you to your regular platoon, and they kind of transition you from the receiving to the regular platoon drill instructor. That usually consists of 4 drill instructors, a senior drill instructor, and 3 others, not junior, but regular drill instructors. The senior drill instructor is supposed to be like your protector.
Right.
He makes sure the other drill instructors don't physically harm you. But they got one that teaches you how to drill, that's marching. One teaches you all the Marine Corps knowledge. Then
Right.
one just fucks with you. And
Right.
I've been out in the military since 1993. And I can remember my drill instructors now. And the one I had was Staff Sergeant Gant. He was a mother. And man, they get paid basically, man, to just create havoc in hell. And then some of them and they had those smokies on, and some people, man, they'll be around you all 4 sides, and they have their smokies physically touching your head, and they yelling all kind of orders. And no way you can comprehend that. And then they got this thing called a sandbox outside. So one day when the platoon does something that's just unforgivable, You go in that sandbox and they make you do different kind of exercises. But one day this fool made us put like sand in our pants, all our pockets. Go back to our rack and we had to empty the sand in the rack. Then that night we had to go to bed and sleep in that crap. It's crazy, man. It's
So,
the
so what do you think would happen if, like, say I'm there and then the drill instructor is talking, and then I'm just like, man, this human is ridiculous. Like,
shit.
like,
Back
like,
then, Terrance, you'd get fucked up. Now I think they kind of under some kind of they got certain things, but
so,
back in the day, I went in '88.
so what do you think would happen though? Like you think they would
It'd break you, bro. I've seen some of the hardest people from New York and all places be trying to think they hard. They ain't gonna do it, man. They gonna make you do what they say, or your butt gonna get hard time because it was like 46 training days. You got to pass those 46 training days. If you don't, you keep getting recycled. Recycle is okay. You don't want them to pass this, stop. You're gonna see you back to the beginning of this particular phase. Now, you only stay on the boot camp. I think boot camp was 12 weeks back then, I think. How the hell do I want to stay 13 or 14 or 15 or 16 weeks? I'm gonna do what the hell the motherfuckers say the first time, so I can go ahead and get the hell up out of there.
well the I remember when my parents, specifically my mom, like we had went to the Carson Sheriff Station and they had an exhibit going on, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
And I was off on the side, looking around, and my mom, she was talking to one of the cops. And then it turned out to be two cops, then three, and then it was too damn many. I was like, what the hell is going on, Danny? So all of a sudden, I get signal to go over. I'm like, shit, what the hell is this about? So I go over, and you got this one white dude. He got the blonde hair and stuff, kind of spiky. He's like, yep, your mother's been telling me that you have discipline problems. I'm like, no, that's false, sir. That's completely like I'm like, nah, that's false, sir. Like I didn't do anything wrong. And he's like, so are you saying that your mother's a liar? I'm like, no, I'm not saying she's a liar. I'm just saying she didn't tell the truth. I want you, like,
Oh my god.
Daddy, I want you to understand. Like, I mean, I had a lot of humor on me. I'm not saying that I'm flat and dry per se now, but like, man, I was really with the humor back then a lot. So like I said that, and he was like, see, now I can see what your mother is talking about. So you're not doing your work at school. She said that you're smart, but you don't apply yourself. You think life is a joke, huh, Mr. Harris? I was like, oh, not really. I mean, I don't see where I did anything wrong. I mean, everyone's always mad at me. I don't understand it. So he turns more and he gets close to my face. He was like, so you don't understand it, huh? I'm like, no, that's what I just said. Like, so he tells me, he's like, look behind you, look behind you. So I turn around and there's this lady, and she's taller than him, similar hair, blonde, kind of spiky. And he says to me, he's like, you see this woman right here, Mr. Harris? She will eat you alive. So Daddy, I started laughing, right? And my mom, she just staring, the lady and the guy, they just staring. I'm laughing for at least like 5-10 seconds. And then I say, so when you say she gonna eat me alive, do you feel like she gonna use a spoon or a fork? And then Daddy, I swear, like he didn't snatch my collar so fast, Danny. It seemed like I left my clothes and then went back into my clothes. He didn't snatch me, Danny. He opens the door like it's like loud and stuff, and then he's taking me down all these stairs.
You felt like Cat Williams did when he met old boy in the bathroom on Friday.
Close enough, Danny. Like I didn't get to the fear part yet. It was just like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on, right? So I'm going down all these stairs and shit, Danny. And then it's like some dramatic movie shit. I was in my mind, I'm like, how many stairs are there and stuff? I'm like making jokes in my head, like, nah, it ain't gonna be that bad. Like, so we get to the bottom. He opens two doors, and there's like a bunch of kids my age. I'm like, I don't know, like maybe 14-ish or so at the time. They're wearing like, the green sweatshirt, the green sweatpants. They all lined up, and there's like at least like, I don't know, 8 drill sergeants in there. So I come in and he's like, yep, we got another one right here. And I was like, what you, now my voice is different at this point, Danny. It sounded kind of like this. I was like, what you mean you got another one? Right? Like it is sound like how I'm talking now. Like I was like legitimately like in that mode of like, oh shit. So then they all swarm me, Danny. Like, you know, like how you said they was like surround you all at once and they start yelling in your face. So they're doing that. They're like, get on the ground, get on the ground. I'm like, what did I do? Get on the ground. And they're just yelling and stuff. So I get on the ground and I'm like looking up at like a bunch of them that are just staring at me. They got like the hands on the hips and shit, Danny. And they're like, yeah, do a push up, do a push up. I was like, I can't. I'm not strong enough. Do it. Like, so I'm like trying to do it and I couldn't do it because I just wasn't strong back then, Danny. I couldn't do a single push up to save my life. And then you just got a bunch of like, you're pathetic, get up, get up. I'm like, which one is it? You want me to be on the ground? You want me to stand up? Like, so like I'm coming up, Danny, and like for some reason, this dude didn't grab me by my collar. I don't know what it is, Danny, but they just love to snatch me about like I was nothing, Danny. So they just snatch. I'm busy getting up off the ground, Danny, and this dude snatches me to my feet. I'm like, yep, I could have got up, like. So, and then that main sergeant that drugged me down the stairs, he was telling them like, oh yeah, this dude has a real attitude problem. He doesn't respect his mother. He doesn't do his schoolwork. I'm like, none of that happened. Like, shut up, shut up. I'm like, man, my mom, she had the biggest smile because she had that kind of smile, like, yeah, now my son gonna get that discipline. Like, I was fucking pissed, Danny. I'm like, how dare you smile like that? This is betrayal. You're supposed to be helping your son, right? So I was like, yep, mom, yep, you're not gonna do nothing. They was like, don't go to your mother, shut up. Like, you know, they kept doing that and it was in my face. And then it got kind of quiet. And then I noticed that, you know, the other kids that were in there, they were all looking at me. So it was all eyes on me. I was like, oh shit. So they tell me to get on the ground again. And one of them damn drill sergeants, he had a piece of cake or ice cream or something, Danny. This motherfucker put his feet on my back and told me to do the push-ups. I couldn't even do it without his feet on my back. And this dude is big as hell. And he's just sitting there eating whatever he was eating. He was like, what's the problem, Mr. Harris? I thought you had all the answers. I'm like, I didn't say that shit. Like, I said it under my breath, but I don't know what it is about drill sergeants, Danny, but they can hear everything. He's like, what'd you say? What'd you say? I'm like, oh no, like, Danny, I was ready to swing on him. I mean, I would have got snapped up, Danny, but I was to that point. I'm like, I gotta whoop their ass and get out of here.
I got a question for you. Why didn't you do that kick you did to that black belt guy?
That's because at that time, I didn't have any martial arts training, and nor was I strong enough to do a push-up.
Oh God!
Yeah, this was all before the current Terrance, if you will, that's talking to you now. Like, I didn't have none of that then, Danny. I was, man, they do that now. What would happen, man? Number one, I wouldn't be as you know, like talking to them in that way. I would be much more calm, and I wouldn't feel as threatened, if that makes any sense. So I would go about the situation differently, and in any sort of physical requirements that they would have of me, I would be able to do it easily because, you know, I've been training for like 18 years physically, so that wouldn't be a thing. But back then, when you like 97 pounds and you don't know nothing, that was hell, Danny. Like, I was a hell nah. So
I can believe that.
Man, them drill sergeants were mean, Danny. Why they gotta be like that? I was mad as hell.
Hey, I'm tell you, them drill instructors, they will break your ass down, bro. I done seen it.
Now
it's ridiculous.
I gotta say this one because this is when I got in trouble. I wasn't even part of the situation, Danny. They had us lined up, right? For some reason that day there was more drill sergeants. There must have been at least 14 of them, Danny, give or take. It didn't make no sense. I'm like, why you need another 4, Danny? Huh? Like 7 to 8 ain't enough, huh? I'm like, man, they just like, so when you mentioned to me the whole psychological stuff, it makes sense because
strength like, numbers, brother.
You're right, but I'm like, 1 was too many, Danny. Why they gotta have like 14 of them?
I guess the other 13 got tired.
I guess. Now again, it may have been less than 14, but it was definitely more than 10, Danny. I'm telling you now. Like, so I was in line, and this one girl, she was just crying. The tears was coming down, And one of the drill sergeants, because he was in the middle of telling us like discipline, you got to do your work at school. Your parents have you here for a reason. You kids are messing up, blah blah. And she's just crying loud to where she's cutting off him talking. So he goes over to her, Danny. I'm never gonna forget this shit because this shit was messed up, Danny. So he goes over to her. His whole demeanor changes. He's like, I'm sorry. What's your name? And then let's just say Elizabeth for the sake of the example. He's like, Elizabeth. I'm sorry, as a drill instructor, it's my job to make sure that you're ready to go out into the world and that you become a better child for your parents because they have you guys here for a reason. And I'm sitting there looking at this dude. I'm like, what kind of fake shit is this, Danny? Right? Like, so he keeps talking and she's crying. She's still crying. He walks away, goes to the little desk to the far right. He gets a box of tissues and he's like, "Yeah, would you like some tissues? You're crying and the snot is coming out. I want you to look decent. I want you to understand that I'm not your enemy. I'm not here to hurt you." And I'm just like, "No, Danny, nope, nope, nope." And then she's like, I would like a tissue." He's like, "You would, huh? Well, that's so fucking bad." And then I was like, "Danny." Daddy, when he did that and he threw the tissue on the ground, the box, and then he stepped on it, Danny. I
So it's
was like,
kind of did a rock on her, didn't he?
right. Like, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Like, he's like, I don't care. So he's like, you don't get no fucking tissues. What do you think this is? And I just started laughing out loud, Danny, because that shit was funny to me. And I shouldn't have did that, Danny, because as soon as I laughed out loud, I was,
Drew
I,
attention to yourself.
yeah, I was swarmed, and they was just like, "Oh, it's the comedian, Mr. Harris." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like, Daddy, I said that out loud too. I said, "Oh shit," and they took me outside away from the other kids. And I kid you not, Danny, as I was going to the door, I looked back at those kids like they were getting ready to kill me. It was almost like I wanted them to help me because it was
He's
too
like,
many of the drills.
no,
Like,
hell
no, like, but it was like that. I was like, "Oh," and then I'm outside, and I got the same treatment as her, and had to do the push-ups, and they were spitting in my face because they were all yelling, and I wasn't smiling anymore after that. But
I can only imagine. Terrance, we have been on 2 hours and 47 minutes, my friend. And I got another stream to go to. Plus, I'm hungry. Gotta get my nutrients like you do. But I definitely enjoyed this. Like I said, I'm gonna try and get that thing I showed you earlier. I'm gonna try and get us an intro. But man, I think this is a good thing. Like I said, we're gonna start for those of you that's still with us every Sunday, starting at 3. No, not what time did I say? Not 3 p.m. this time. Can't be 3 p.m.
Yeah, it would be
It'd be 6 p.m. my time, 3 p.m.
right.
3 p.m. your time. But at
Right.
6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're gonna go on the air. Not a dedicated length what we do, but it's gonna be at least 2 hours. And like I said, if you go on my show, you can. I mean, if you go on my YouTube channel, I always post a poll. I'm probably gonna let it stay up one more night, and I have a new poll up. This past poll was now that Batman seems to be heading in the right direction. Do we think it's going to outperform Wonder Woman 84? I think to do certain storylines that it definitely will, but we'll have to wait and see.
Danny, I don't know if you know this, but I think that you and I, we have like good chemistry, like with the.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this show is called Equilibrium because Terrance and I balance each other out with our opinions, our thought process. He is more of the explainer because he has a greater knowledge and understanding of the comics that I do, but I think that I bring an older look at things sometimes. There's a little age difference between us, not too much. But basically, this is our show that we're doing. It's called Equilibrium. This was the first show. I'm going to try and get our own logo, what I'm working on now, and also an intro. And so you will definitely do that. It is Terrance and Danny. Like I said, we talk about several different things. In particular, we're talking mainly about the Black Lightning show and The Flash because we both watched that, enjoyed that. I'm trying to get Terrance plugged into the Clone Wars. I don't think he's watched that yet, or Rebels.
I gotta watch that. I
Yeah.
definitely have interest in that and Rebels for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Have you been watching Mandalorian any?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
As soon as that dropped, Danny, I was all over those
I got
episodes.
you. So whenever that comes back on season 2, I think it's sometime later on this year. We'll definitely get
Hmm.
into that as well. But any topics that you may have in the chat, any topics that we come about just in regular conversation during our show, we will talk about it. And we appreciate you all coming and joining us. Like I said, today we talked right at 3 hours, 2 hours and 50 minutes to be exact right now at this particular point. And it's a very interesting show. I get a lot out of it because, as I say again, Terrance is very knowledgeable. I really enjoy the way he breaks down things, gives me a clear understanding on things that I'm not particularly necessarily that clear at. But my name is Danny Graham. My show is Comic Chat. This show is Equilibrium. You can find me every Monday night on my show. Um, it's called The Chaotic Conversation. Tomorrow, I think Terrance will be on the show. I sent him the list. You gonna be able to join us tomorrow night, Terrance?
Um, Probably not, but there's a chance I might.
Okay, if you can, and for the people that can join us tomorrow, it's 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's gonna be the top 10 um, leaders off of famous comic book shows and animation shows. I think on the list off the top of my head was Lion-O, He-Man, um, Optimus Prime, Brave Star, Black Star. I know it was 10 of them. And tomorrow we're going to list them from our least favorite to our most favorite. So please be able to tune in tomorrow so you can see that and be a part of that. Like I said, your subscriptions are very much needed and wanted. My current goal now is to try to get to 1,500 subscribers before Father's Day, which is the third Sunday in June. So that is what I'm trying to do, and I can only do that with your help. Terrence,
Um,
before we go, tell the people where they can find you, and if you have any last thoughts, go ahead and say them now.
oh, yep. Yep. I'm Terrance, from the Tremaine Terrance channel. I share that channel with my brother Tremaine, and on there you will find thousands of videos. There's comic book related discussions for shows and movies, and theories and stuff that I have, or thoughts on something that has come about news wise, and then lots of different reviews for different TV shows. And I have reviewed more than 1,000 movies. There are playlists that you can go through if you have a specific taste or interest. If you're curious about, everything as a whole that's on the channel, the playlist is a good way to go to see that. Um, yeah, so if you like a large variety of things, then you go to the Tremaine Terrance channel. And I gotta warn you though, like a lot of humans, they be getting mad at my opinion. They be like that damn Terrance, but that damn Terrance is got to keep it real. So
That's right.
that's
That's right.
that
I
sounds like
I enjoy the show. You say some things that I can't say, but go to the
yeah,
channel. It's definitely enjoyable. Like I said, he gonna say what he means and what he thinks, and I'm cool with
mhm.
it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things because for those of you that are not aware of me, I've had plenty of humans like say stuff like, "Oh, so you think you're some kind of god or something, calling everybody a human? What
Get
are
out.
you, Terrence? What are you?" That kind of stuff. Or like Danny, I don't know if you have noticed this personally, but this has happened to me, whether it be in my own comment section or even other people's videos, comments, or even during certain people's live streams, where they simply wait for the opportunity to go, you didn't know that. I know it and you didn't, that kind of stuff, as if they're excited that I'm not as perfect or on a pedestal that they have put me on, not me put myself on. And I'm just like, yo, like I've even addressed some of these humans, Danny. I'm like, first of all, I don't know everything. I'm not perfect. I don't have all the experience in the world. I mean, I've said that on many, many occasions, and I don't think that I am better than the human species or none of that kind of stuff. And
Excuse
I tell them, it doesn't matter that you know this and I don't, because overall, like I tell them, I still have more knowledge than you. It's like, I'm sorry that I didn't realize that the tree was called Sappernickel. I'm sorry, but like, but while you have your little point on the board, I have the entire board filled. So I usually have to shut that down because they usually will approach me in a very disgusting manner. I'm like, yo, man, when I say something that I know, I don't go, ha, see, I knew that and you didn't. Like, I don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. One thing I've learned about being on YouTube, you gotta have thick skin. I don't follow up all that crazy. If somebody says something crazy on my chat, I block the hell out of them. Block user. Well, first I give them a timeout, see whether or not they're gonna. But if they don't, I just block them and keep going because I didn't get that. I didn't develop this YouTube channel to go after crazy. I did it because I wanted to have a voice. I wanted my opinion to do it in a respectful manner and to try and gravitate and have people gravitate towards me that have similar or it could be different interests or opinions on a particular topic that we discuss. So that's why I gravitate towards you because you and I seem to, like you said, we have a good chemistry here on the show. Whenever we talk, I mean, I don't agree with everything you say and vice versa, but it ain't all this cursing and stuff that's going on that I've seen on other channels. So I don't
That's
get
right.
down. I don't get down with all that kind of stuff. If you don't like it, I mean, hey, Terrance doesn't like it. If I don't
Right.
like it, I mean, like I like Ragnarok. Like I watched it last night till 5 in the morning. You didn't care for it, so I mean, I ain't mad because
But
you
but
didn't like it. But I
but
mean,
but how often do I say stuff like it, even like when we were talking about the Bond, James Bond stuff, for those of you that weren't here, like
yeah,
remember how I said that I respect that even though it's different, and I always go into why, and I
yeah,
feel like explaining oneself makes a difference in every situation because
yep,
no one can just know for sure
that's
that
right.
your position is what it is. You have to explain yourself.
Makes totally sense, totally perfect sense. But like I said, man, this is a good show. I enjoyed it. Like I said, you and I are cool. We talk just about every day. I'm very interested in seeing Black Lightning tomorrow. I'm probably gonna
I,
set my alarm and get up early tomorrow and watch it.
uh Danny, how do you feel about like those? I know you just said like you block assholes and stuff, but what about like, because I've encountered this a lot. I don't know if you have, but for some reason on the internet and also in person with different experiences that I've had personally or that I see with friends and stuff, like the stuff they go
Mhm.
through, when somebody makes a mistake, like I don't know what it is, but it's like blood in the water and the sharks come. It's like, yo, like who hasn't made a mistake? It's like I see like these savages come out when somebody makes a mistake and they know what they're talking about, but they made a mistake, and then these people are just vicious in their approach and they start insulting them and doing all this stupid shit, Danny. I'm like, what is that?
You talk about on in the YouTube community or in real life?
Both. Like the whole like you it's hard to make a mistake
Yeah,
without like humans just coming for your throat,
yeah.
like the
That
blood with the sharks in the water.
yeah. In my profession, you just gotta be more so now because everybody and their mama got a daggone camera phone. So you just got to make sure that you have a clear understanding. First of all, it's common sense. If you don't have common sense, a lot of stuff you're gonna make mistakes. But if you got common sense, there's a little voice that tells you whether or not you're doing something wrong, right, or something that's questionable. You got to follow your inner voice. Of course, if you're in a certain profession, you got to follow policy and procedure. And on this right here, there's certain guidelines. I mean, this copper stuff is not bad as I thought it was going to be, but there's certain things you got to do. And I'm going to use this as an example. There was an individual. He is an adult. He's 15, and he wanted to come on my show. I don't have a problem with that individual, but I was like, okay, well, this put me in a pickle because I got on my videos not for kids, but I'm going
Yep.
to have a kid on my show. So I tried to explain to him and say, look, I don't have a problem with you personally. I'm happy that you supporting the channel by your comments, and if you decide to leave super chats whenever I get my channel monetized, but I can't have you on the show because I'll be kind of hypocritical saying that look, my content's not for kids, suitable for kids. He was like, well, that age limit is 13. Yeah, but technically you still a kid. I'm 50. I'm almost 50.
That's still a kid next to
Yeah.
you,
So I'm
technically.
like, nah, I can't have you on the show. I mean, if you want to write comments and stuff, I can't stop you from writing comments. I can't do that. And I will always answer your comments. I'm not going to have you on camera or have you off camera like you are on my show because that's going to put me in a position where it's not going to be kosher. So,
Right.
I don't worry about people, man. I mean, if it's somebody I give a damn about, I respect their opinion, and I try to go with things, or if they tell me things, I'll take listen to it. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna do what's best for Danny, if professionally, and for my family, I'm gonna do what's best for Danny and my family. So other people, like I said, if I give a damn about you, you're a close friend, someone who opinion I care for, and I ask it may weigh in on what I ultimately decide, but what I ultimately decide is going to be what's best for me. So I
I
don't care about other crazy stuff
but
people say.
like that's true, but like what I'm more so getting at is kind of like this. Like I was on someone's stream and they were talking about Wolverine and Sabretooth.
Uh huh.
And one of the guys that was talking, um, he was he was supposed to be talking about Wolverine, but I guess he made a mistake and he mentioned Sabretooth's name and stuff that's associated with him instead of Wolverine. And like everyone on that stream, Danny like was like, "You fucking idiot," and "You're fucking stupid," like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was like from me listening because I wasn't part of that panel. Because if I were, I would have defended the shit out of that human, just to let you know. But
Yeah.
like but just by me listening, even like I was a lot of people they were typing stuff, so it's hard for my shit to get a response and stuff. Everybody's typing and doing different shit, and I can't really type as fast as I can talk. It just doesn't work that way with the way the stream goes. So
Uh huh.
they're just like, yeah, you fucking idiot and this and that. And I was typing in there, I'm like, yo, I knew he was talking about Wolverine. He just said the
Yeah.
wrong name by accident. But
So
Danny,
I
it
know.
was horrible.
I know exactly what you said. And the Star Wars fans are the worst. If you
Hmm.
say a word or a character and he can't do that. Now, I'm not I know some about Star Wars. I've seen all the movies. I can recall different scenes and stuff. And based on the skill set I use in my profession, I listen to what people say and I can regurgitate it back to them. But I know for a fact, and I got a pretty good memory on certain details. I've never seen like the Mandalorians you see in on the Mandalorian, they all have these lone capes.
Hmm.
I've never ever seen Boba Fett with a lone cape. I've
Right.
never seen. He always have the short cape that goes
Yep.
down to his waist or just above his waist. But I was on
Right.
this one show and this guy, yeah, Boba Fett, he wears this. He got look. And I'm like, sir, look, if you can show it to me or or show me a picture, I'll concede. But I'm telling you, if you want to be factual about this and hold everything, because this guy, his hangs his head on being factual and all this kind of stuff and every minute detail, which I don't go to a movie and critique how it's shot or it's just like this or this. Some people I go in there for the enjoyment of it. But
Right.
he's one of these people that's anal about it. And I said, look, you can tell me what you want, but I've never seen Boba Fett in a long cape. I always seen him in the short cape. And all the other Mandalorians I see with long capes. But I mean, that's here nor there. I mean, I really don't care one way or the other. But
Right.
it just in this medium and in on social media, people get a lot of courage when they're not face to face with somebody.
That is exactly what I said. Whether it be with my voice or in the chats, I'm like, I said it like this, Danny. I'm like, these fucking humans are brave because they're behind their keyboard. That's why they call them keyboard warriors. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, if I'm in front of this human and they doing all kinds of stuff, and I happen to bop somebody's teeth out their mouth or something, like I'm like, yo, I shouldn't do that. I'm wrong for doing that, but
Yeah.
you can't say that this person didn't realize that that was a possibility, talking all the trash that they talk,
Mm-hmm.
as
Yep.
if they have never in their life made a mistake with whatever they're talking about. I'm like, yo, man,
Yeah.
cut the dude some slack. You knew he was talking about Wolverine. Big whoop, he said Sabretooth. So
Yeah.
fucking what? You knew what he was.
And at the end of the day, it's my understanding this is supposed to be the other person's opinion. An opinion is not a right or wrong, but some people are there like that's totally wrong because Canon said blah blah blah. That's why I don't have much faith in canon. I mean, other than what I told you earlier in the biblical sense, because that can't be rewritten. It's been written. People that wrote it is dead, so it can't be physically changed or altered. If something,
Right.
I don't even want to go back onto that, but it's just look, man. I try to treat everybody the same way, face to face or on the computer. I've been in some chats and some of my shows that get a little out of control. I try to always be referee. Look, man, look, we ain't gonna agree, but let's agree to disagree and keep it moving. But all the name calling and all that kind of crazy stuff is crazy, man.
Yeah, it's just it's not worth it. I mean, like
Yeah.
I mean,
If
you've
I-
seen me talk to different
Mhm.
humans, and I can talk with the best of them as
Yeah,
long as
if
as
I
long
don't
as they
like
allow
you,
me to talk.
if I don't like you, then you probably ain't gonna be on my show much
Right.
for whatever reason. Nah, we ain't getting down. Or something you said, or your view is totally opposite of mine. And I'm just gonna say this. No, I ain't gonna say it because it's totally political. But if you like a certain person, then you probably ain't gonna be on my show, and I know about it.
Right.
And
Right. Of course,
I'm gonna leave it.
it makes
I'm,
sense. You know.
I'm gonna leave it at that because we're gonna have polar opposite views, and you're gonna get me heated at some point. And before I get heated and lose my control and embarrass myself or my channel, then I just prefer not to have you on the show. So that's how I handle that kind of stuff.
I haven't like got you heated.
Oh no. You don't. If you get me heated, we would be doing the show every Sunday.
no, no, that's fair point. But I just mean like so that's never happened. Like I never got you to where you're like, oh, that's fucking Terrance, like something like that.
No.
Okay.
No, man. I keep saying this, man. You teach me a lot. I know a lot of stuff, and I used to read comic books like you drink water every day.
Right.
I was younger, but now I got a family and I can't read them like I want to. But I research all the time. Like I didn't know too much about Gore, the God Butcherer, but when I found out about maybe Christian Bale playing that part, I went online, I researched, I went through everything I can. And when it's something I'm interested in, I'm like a sponge. I read that briefly and then I kind of regurgitated what you heard today because that's something I read earlier today. So that kind of stuff,
Right.
if it interests me, I research it and try to find out because I don't want to come on here and sound ignorant. And that's why if I don't know something, you always hear me say, I don't know. I can't speak on that intelligently. So, like,
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
but you're not gonna hear me talk to you like that. Like if you don't know something, like I might happen to know it, and I'm happy to fill you in. If I know what I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
it's not a problem. I don't ever be like, come on, Danny, how come you don't know that? None of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you don't, but I've been on some, especially Star Wars, and they be like, damn. I'm like, and then that's when I get defense. I be like, hey, ain't this shit fake?
that's true. I've always said that.
Ain't this shit is fake? And you over there mad and huffing and puffing about something that's fake?
Right. I've only said that line like maybe a couple times in my whole life, like in those words specifically, like, ain't this shit fake, man? Like, but I'm
that's
like,
my go-to. If you start acting crazy and be just, I can't believe. Hey, Terrance.
Yeah, like you supposed to know everything. You be like, say you watching Black Lightning, and they're like, oh, you didn't know he had 2 daughters, Danny. What's wrong with you? But how you not gonna know the other, something like that? Like, I'm like, yo, come on, man. Like, it's not that serious.
Now I kind of get on somebody if they proclaim themselves to be an expert.
Right.
Oh, I'm an expert. I know this. Blah, blah, blah. Now, if you come off that and that with the arrogant tone,
Mm-hmm.
Shit, the trickster in me would try and find something to trip you up. But
Right.
damn, man, I thought you said he was an expert. You ain't knew that. Superman could die from gold kryptonite or lose his power. You didn't know that? Now, I might do that to kind of fuck with him.
Right. And then they're just like, oh, like, and then it gets more heated after that. Like,
Now, I'm guilty. I will do that, but for the most part, man, this is a hobby. I ain't gonna ever get rich doing this. I do it because
right,
I enjoy it, and I don't want to be like one of them armchair quarterbacks that watch football. Oh man, you should have done this, and this. But
right.
no, your ass sitting in the couch. You ain't out there on the field.
I
So
I
I say,
have let some humans know though, Danny, man. I let them know, like, because I've had some humans like they try to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. And at certain points, I say, look, man, I know more about this shit than you do. Like when they start getting like saying certain things, I'm like, hey, man, pump the brakes real quick. That'd be like me trying to tell you about what the military is like. And you explain that to me. I didn't even know it like that because I don't have that experience. That'd be like me going, no, Danny, you don't know what you're talking about, Danny. Like, why would you do that?
yeah,
You know?
some people is crazy. But
Yeah.
man, as usual, as always, I enjoyed the show. We're gonna definitely hook up again next Sunday and discuss Black Lightning and some more stuff. I enjoyed it, bro. It's now over 3 hours and 11 minutes. I can't do that 10 hour that you want to do. I don't think
Okay, I am sneaky, Danny. I always try to get in a little bit more time. I know.
I know. But as always, man, thanks for the input. I appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time, bro.
All right, man. Likewise. Yep.
All right. Later.
Later.